Devastated the face of existence. Ooh, I better close that. One sec, homies. Let us see if the debate has begun. Or I guess not the debate, but at least the generalized meme over here. Let me pull this down. Flip this bad boy up a script. Big facts. It looks like we are up and running. Still probably got to edit just a few things here. Let's see. Playlist. Oh, no, this was Curator. Playlist. I might as well put this in there. Let's see. DC Universe. I figure I got all you guys rolling in, so that's what I need to do. I need to get you guys chilling on the side here, so I could see all your comments coming in, man. Let's see here. Where's my channel at? Let's go. As usual. What's up, everybody? Yo, I already got the people. I already got the people in here. What's up, everybody rolling? We already got the homies repping. We at least got a few people chilling. Let's go. Hope you guys are ready, man. I hope you guys are dead set and ready to go. Let's go. Because this has been a weird one, man. This whole experience has definitely been a weird one. But it is what it is. As we always find out, it is what it is, boys. I figure I'd hop in the old stream before I jump in and make this shit happen, just to see the general idea of what you guys kind of think, what you guys are kind of feeling on the situation. Oh my god, I gotta turn my light on. It's got dark outside. Hit me with it. Hit me with it. Yo, Gravity says he's got his popcorn ready. Consider becoming a member, man. I might start doing this action more often. I got Rockin' Alice and Gravity Titan, both members chilling out. What's up, boys? I want you guys to slap it out, man. What are we facing today? What are going to be the biggest arguments that we see coming from good old comic Curator, huh? What would it be? Huh? What's going to be the memes? Because I'm not going to lie, if you guys have kept up on the wonderful playlist, you know what? I'll tag this whole playlist in the background, so once again, I don't really have... Oh, can't I need to save that? Perpetua, DC... Yeah, fuck it. That should be good enough. I'm just going to copy the 4 I have and save this bad boy. Okay, I'm just going to save this real quick. Hold up. Wait a minute. Where is playlists? The heck? My god, I have way too many playlists on the channel. Jesus. I had no idea. I had no idea I had so many playlists, man. I got fucking 93 of them? Jesus. I had no idea I had so much content out. Oh, and I haven't added to this playlist in ages, so... knows, man. I'll just manually find this bad boy. Let's try this. There we go. I'll just paste this here in case anybody wants the full playlist of everything. don't forget, guys, this is a super chat stream. So if you guys have anything you want answered definitively, if you are a Theromax core member, of course, I will rep pretty much what's going on with your comments. If you're not, man, hey, you might have to wait. Things get a little bit crazy, so it is what it is. We're just kind of playing it by ear and seeing what's happening. Just being real. Let's see. Everybody's asking what exactly the debate is on. Okay, so the debate is Perpetua was dreamed into existence by Darkseid. At least that's what I believe he believes. And then the Great Darkness was deleted by Vandal Savage during the events of Legion versus Justice League. So yeah, I don't know. We're just I'm open to having my mind changed, and I'm putting that out there. I'm always open to see if people have information that says what they say, but I'm worried, if I'm being honest, y'all. I'm worried that a lot of the scans that we're going to see are not going to say anything that we're promised, and I'm worried that like major arguments for the opposing side are going to be entirely baseless, especially without arguments, like without the evidence they have. Because like my time in the past working with this guy in response videos and stuff like that, most of the time it's just like wrong. Yo, what's up, man? Man asks, hey, has Constantine shown any narrative level scaling? Well, yeah, man, narrative. We get narrative stuff even down inside the Ori of Worlds, and Constantine messes with all sorts of stuff, even up into the God Sphere and beyond. So, yeah, of course, dude. Constantine's Constantine isn't as big of a boy as he was like back in the day, and whenever it comes to like comparing him to like everyone else, but he definitely is like powerful nonetheless. Good question coming from good old man though. Big W's. Dreamed. Knight says dreamed by Darkseid. What? Even though she predates him. To be fair, I I could be wrong because I don't. It's a little wild over there, but I think what they're saying is that at one point in time, using the collective unconscious, they dreamed Perpetua into existence, but I don't know, dude. We're gonna find out. I haven't watched the content slot from this dude in like months, so I don't know where his opinions have gone. Um, I don't really know what. Every time I try to have a conversation, it feels like things slightly move. So who knows? Maybe I'm wrong even moving up to this moment. Yeah, it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing, dude. That's my biggest problem with I think Curator. Like even in pretext, I'll write them out too, so we're on the same page, so you guys can see exactly what I'm working on here. As scans don't say what they claims. No evidence for the actions of his claims. Story itself debunks the claims. Author, yeah, like this is what we're talking about. This is traditionally whatever I deal with whenever it comes to like everything to do with this dude. And it's just kind of it's frustrating, you know? It's very frustrating. Um yeah, it's very frustrating. It's just a whole thing. Okay, I don't know. Oh no, the collective unconscious created the presence arguments. That feels bad. This man said that's debatable. That hurts me on the inside. Jesus, kill me. Somehow. Oh, you guys are taking bets down low. Hey, if that's the case, I better get a chunk of this shit, okay? Y'all win some solid money. I better get something out of it, alright? Then again, that is one of the many claims that I've gotten from this whole meme. Uh oh. Oh, chill, CC. I'll jump in here in a minute with you, okay, buddy? I'm sure you've been hit up 400 times about people saying I started, but I still got a little bit of prelude. We start at 4, okay? And that's when I said we would. So, oh no, man. I'm curious to see where this goes. I feel like most of this is just gonna be like reaching out and attempting, like a schizophrenic attempting to like justify their like opinions and basis on reality. I think that whenever engaging with someone like that, you've just gotta rely on reality and keep engaging with things that you know are existing in continuity, just being real. And I think holding good old comic curator to that is going to be a very interesting experience to say the least. A very interesting one nonetheless. But it is what it is, and that's what we're here for today. Normally, I record with music in the background, and so it might feel a little bit empty for you guys. But I don't really like doing that later on, because whenever I re listen to this stuff, I swear, sometimes the vocals and the audio and stuff like that are just like way wild and like way crazy, and it just never sounds that way inside what I'm doing over here. So it is what it is. But I don't know. What are you guys expecting out of this, huh? What do you guys think is going to happen? We got 15 minutes to chill and talk. Winner of this debate faces Mr. Evaluator later today. Yo, talk about a figure I haven't seen of in forever. If you're a member, you can actually watch my old debates with him. They're pretty funny, I'm not gonna lie. The old Trigon Wank was pretty hilarious. Yo, what's up, Andrew? What's up, everybody, dude? It's good to have everyone rolling in. How many memes do we have repping today? Okay, we got quite a few people chilling, chilling. Oh, man. His Great Darkness takes are hilarious, but hilariously bad, lmao. Yeah, I don't understand the whole Great Darkness thing. Who knows? Maybe today he'll enlighten us on exactly why or how or whatever is going on with all of that. So who knows? Maybe we'll finally come to, huh? And figure out exactly what the ultra memes are. If anybody is late to the party too, the playlist up top is the ultimate recap on everything that's happened via my past interactions with this doofball. Q act down here acting like I dodged him in rivals. Man, I got off work late, okay? Chill. I still jumped on afterwards, and I couldn't help but notice you dodged me then, so get wrecked. Jesus, bro. What are y'all's thoughts on Absolute GL? It's interesting. I can't wait to see where things kind of go before. Yeah, I don't know. Issue 1 was cool, but it wasn't a whole heck a lot, so I don't really know what to say. It seems like it's going in a good direction. I hope it's a W, is what I'll say. Oh yeah, I gotta link this shit in the server, huh? I gotta send out the bat signal to y'all. I keep forgetting to do that. It's been a minute since I streamed, so let's see here. Oh god, I'm so sore from yesterday. Work yesterday was savage, boys. No, the debate is him trying to explain. I don't even have claims here, okay? Like most of everything here are like claims by him, and his claims are like Darkseid dreamed up Perpetua on purpose for some reason, and then Vandal Savage deleted the Great Darkness. Like permanently. Made it never happen, actually. Even better, he made it to where it never happened. So take that with your grain of salt. Yeah, this is a funny meme, Rock. I have messed with that one before. I think it's from one of my scans. I'm not even gonna lie. It was pretty meme. That comic is awesome, dude. I actually found the comic at a business where Hal Jordan sells all his lantern rings, dude. I actually bought that shit like super hard. It was big W's. No, the debate is happening here in a minute, vegan students, so bear with us. We almost there, homies. We almost there. We got 10 minutes to chill before I go in here and pull out my hair, okay? He says Darkseid can't even beat Santa. True, but Santa's on something, bro. He's handing out blue lantern rings left and right, apparently, so it is what it is. Oof. Yeah, what's up, Stefan? What's up, Onita? Oh, we even got Fefnir rolling in. Yo, we got all the classic homies chilling up. Got Gold rolling up. Yo, we got everybody over here. Yo, Blue Crush says this shit is funny. Jesus, bro. Just got out of working on a bus. Well, hopefully you're gonna get the experience of a lifetime, Sears. So, Jace versus Vol and Pure Truth in the live debate, dude. Vol and Pure Truth would fucking destroy Jace in debate, like in a debate. That easy, boys. And for everyone who's waiting, we're waiting for the top of the hour before I join this call with these other dudes. So we're just kind of enjoying the vibes until then. I'm not in any hurry to have to have a conversation this stupid, okay? I'm gonna tell y'all ahead of time though, I'm gonna match energy. Yo, this guy's notorious for being super passive aggressive, so however passive aggressive we get, I'll just follow up. Yo, a conversation between Fef and this guy would be pretty funny though. I would laugh at that pretty hard. That would be pretty memes. Don't eat a nose. At a certain point, whenever they roll up and start fighting me, it's not me bullying, okay? Self-defense. Lmao, you guys are killing me over here. Let's fucking go, boys. I'm curious to see some of the weirdo arguments that are happening. I'm gonna be real with you, like some of the weirdo arguments that are happening. I imagine that this whole thing is going to be like blown up, like pretty extremely. Um, we're supposed to be talking about two major storylines effectively, but I'm willing to bet money that this spirals way outside of those storylines. Like way outside of like way outside those storylines. Like we're supposed to be focusing on the events of Justice League Odyssey as well as like Justice League versus the Legion of Superheroes, and we should only be hypothetically talking about that. But I'm willing to bet $90 that, bro, we're gonna spiral so far away from that. We're gonna wind up in every corner of fucking DC. It's gonna be wild. It's gonna be a little crazy, boys. Just being real. This dude is still on 2007, 2008. Be careful. Yeah, he'll probably try to drag us back to the Grant Morrison era. Am I gonna get the new Switch 2? Nah. Too many issues in my opinion, dude. Not worth it. Like it's way too expensive. There's too much shit going on. There's not enough good games on it yet. Like they're charging for like demos. Like I don't know. It feels lame. Nintendo needs to learn how to like not suck at multiplayer and actually make like a good, solid piece of hardware as console before they're charging that value. Switch ain't that. I know I have one of the original Switches. It ain't that guy. It's gonna update its tech to be 5 years behind the Xbox and PlayStation still, despite how great their games are. That's the thing that pisses me off. It'll end up with us debating Final Crisis. Lmao would not surprise me. Yes, this guy still thinks Cass is top dog or something. All right, boys. I think it's time. Do we head in early? I'll let you guys vote. Do we head in early or do we hold off, huh? Oh, you know what? Before we do, we're going to take a quick break. That's exactly what we're going to do. I'll be right back, homies. Don't have too much fun.
Yo, two, I'm gonna be.
The
I'm
goat's
gonna be
here.
getting
What's up,
spooked.
Olaf?
Yo, what up, Lumos?
Howdy. Now, see, I'm glad that
Probably
I
talking to
checked
chat.
all the settings before because old man told me to use the some kind of setting, and I'm like, well, that setting doesn't even exist on the website version. So I had to download the Discord app for my computer, and like all the settings are completely different. And when I tried to record just as a test earlier, just thankfully, thank God I did it. Like it was not recording any of the desktop audio. So I had to go
No.
manually reset it. So I was like what, not even 5 minutes away from recording all of this with no audio.
Ooh, tragedy. Well,
All right, I'll mute up.
I'm glad. I'm glad we could all make it here and make it happen. Give me 1 second. I think I actually got to change up something in my own settings now.
Yeah, no problem. I just did that, so take your time.
Okay, I bet. Now I think we should be good for the most part. Had an unfortunate problem here with the old mic, but switched it up.
I deadlifted today. I did 50 push-ups, 60 sit-ups just for this debate. Like, this is it. This is the one everyone's been waiting for.
Hell yeah. Well, we're indeed here to have this conversation, so don't get me wrong, I'm cool with other people inside the call, but my goal is to mainly talk to MJ over here, because clearly we're the ones with the differences, so I want to follow up with him and pick his brain on why he believes the things that he believes, because he has really strong opinions on the Great Darkness being deleted and Perpetua being dreamed up by Darkseid.
Yeah, I just want to clear, I'm not going to be talking. I'm going to mute my mic and I'm going to be playing Silent Hill 2.
Yeah, they're not going to be talking.
Yeah, I'm going to be.
Dope, dude. Just wanted to lay some general ideas around, boys. But Joe, so, good old MJ, it's been quite the coming to this moment, my friend, so I'm glad we could finally sit down and have this chat, as clearly, since I'm live streaming and you're recording, none of us really have anything to hide here, so I'll be the first one to ask you. You have very strong takes towards, let's do, which one did you want to discuss first? We'll do that one first.
Oh, that's totally on you. Whatever you want. You set the time, you set the topic, so you get to pick which of the two we can do.
That's cool. I think we both picked a topic, but that's okay. We'll do it that way. You believe very strongly that the Great Darkness was deleted permanently by Vandal Savage. Is that something you stand by?
Yeah, I stand by that because that's what the source material showed us in Justice League versus the Legion.
Okay, so you would say that there is no evidence no evidence in that story that Vandal's words were not accurate.
No, literally none, because in the source material, the ending scene when they go to take Vandal to jail, and he's waiting in jail, takes place far, far in the future. Doesn't take place in the 21st century, and they're the Guardians of Oa and Vandal are sitting in a very distant future. I don't know what the exact date is, but it's pretty far into the future.
Well, so with the Legion of Superheroes are, right? Like, this is the Legion of Superheroes. Yeah, it's like in their time frame, because the Elders of Oa are just like the Guardians in their time period, so this is like clearly like that time period, right?
Right. I'm only saying that because in the comic I'm not aware of any actual date given to it, so I'm just going to say it's really far in the future.
I just wanted to specify. It's like clearly in the Legion of Superheroes time frame. So like, yeah. Right? We both agree on that?
Right. And yeah, sure. And in the chat I'm going to show pictures of that when they say that they're sending Batman back to his time in the 21st century. So this entire ending of the comic, after they take Vandal into custody and he reveals that he's the source of the Great Darkness and the whole Gold Lantern ring thing, that whole event takes place very, very far into the future. No, there's no evidence anywhere in this comic that he was wrong. So I would love to know what your evidence of that is, and then I can show the scans of Batman himself and all the other characters finding out directly that Vandal is the source of the Great Darkness because Vandal said so. And also the Guardians of Oa confirmed, and everybody else there confirmed it too.
Okay, so, that being said, you're saying everything Vandal said in his claims about destroying everything was canon, including the Great Darkness, correct? So...
what you said there it's not really a coherent thing. Vandal didn't destroy...
Or my bad, stop it from ever having existed, correct? My bad, I don't want to misinterpret.
No, I never said it never existed. When they go back with it, they're still dealing with the remnants of it. Again, when Batman is sent back, they're still finishing the battle with the Great Darkness. So it's not that it never was. I don't believe I've ever said that Vandal made it or anybody else made it so that it never was. This event takes place in the future. They took care of the Great Darkness and made sure that it wouldn't attack anybody else.
Do you think the Great Darkness exists in the future or in the present in this story?
Well, they show you that they show you that it was attacking multiple points.
Both at the same time, right? They even specify there's like a hole that opens up in the Great Darkness, and they could see each other through them, right?
Sure, exactly. Yeah, and again, so, Batman calls the Great Darkness a time void.
It's a problem affecting all of time, and this the Great Darkness that's being spawned here is clearly affecting multiple timelines, affecting, as Batman theorizes and is confirmed later on by Vandal Savage, everything within the Age of Heroes, correct?
Yeah, sure. I'll trust you on that one. I don't recall him saying that specifically.
Oh, that's
but
okay.
I
Hold on.
will-
I'll get the scan where he says the Age of Heroes. Let me find it real quick.
Yeah, sure. That's fine. I have no problem with that specific line of dialogue.
Okay, cool. So, the Age of Heroes contains everything that we had seen within the contents of this story as he was attempting... It was Vandal Savage's goal to eradicate the Age of Heroes and create a new timeline where he was in control.
No, his goal was stated to be that he just wants to screw with everybody and make it hurt. So,
Can you send me a scan where he says my goal is to just make everyone hurt?
yeah, I just posted it in the chat. So, like, he really wanted to dig this in. He really wanted to really trick everybody and get everybody screwed up. And it wasn't really his goal per se to, become like a cosmic overseer of everything, kind of like Darkseid would want to do. Like, his goal there was clearly stated in the comic that, like, his primary goal anyway was directly stated that he just wants to hurt everybody. He wants to make it hurt. He wants everybody to feel the revenge factor.
I'm looking at the scan you posted. I'll read exactly what Vandal Savage says. I am Vandal Savage. I have traveled long and far, forward and backwards, and discovered... And what I discovered was the world was far better without you, the Age of Heroes. You ruined everything. So, his goal is to eliminate the Age of Heroes because they ruined everything. Can you agree on this?
No, I'm going to say that's part of his goal, but not the ultimate goal. Again, like, removing all of that stuff and making them hurt, is the entire point of all that. So, removing the Age of Heroes is something he could have done immediately and proved that he could have done immediately, but he decided to do it slowly. His most important goal there is to do the slow burn and make them feel it. Okay, so the bottom panel here says... So after a great deal of thought about my place in the universe and my true purpose, I decided to get rid of it. The Age of Heroes no longer exists. Do you agree that Vandal Savage, in his own statements right here, claims the Age of Heroes no longer exists because of his actions utilizing that Ring of Great Darkness to destroy the timeline? Oh yeah, absolutely. Because we see later in the series when they take him to the future... he's still attacking all of those things.
The Age of Heroes includes the Legion of Superheroes because they're heroes in that time frame. He also tried to blow up their entire reality as prior seen inside this comic run, which is why the Great Darkness was in their timeline in general, in the Legion of Superheroes timeline. So that being said, Vandal believes he has removed all of that from the timeline permanently. Would you agree with that? Because his intent was to destroy the Age of Heroes, as stated by Vandal in the scan that you gave.
No, see, Lumos, that's not how time things work. You see that the Guardians of Oa kind of deleted everything that was going on with Vandal there at the end scene. Again, we see that Vandal here had the intent of destroying the Age of Heroes and everything else, but that doesn't mean that they can't travel through time to the future while his other events are being endowed with everything.
The future was the events that he was attacking. He was attacking them all at the same time simultaneously.
Right, but that's not how time works. You can go flow through everything at that point. Again, where is Vandal at this point in time when this happens? Like, he's in the Great Darkness.
He's literally inside the darkness hacks that he has. He appears at the end of the comic after he weaponizes himself and steps out. It's the scene you're showing here, right? The Great Darkness kind of takes over everyone, and then he steps out from that.
Exactly, but it hadn't been fully enacted yet, which is proven in the comics with the eyes that the Lord gave us.
So hold on.
It wasn't fully done yet.
Can you show me on panel where he does what you are claiming? Because if this is the evidence you have, you've not provided sufficient evidence. After all, the follow-up claim, which is the base claim... Let me finish here. The follow-up claim, which is the base claim, which, keep in mind, his goal was to destroy the Age of Heroes. Afterwards, he brutally failed because... everyone laughs at him and says, you are inside the Golden Lantern Ring. You have been for quite some time, implying that he's trapped inside the Golden Lantern Ring via a combination of their powers, and everything that happened with him bragging and like hyping shit up was literally just cope. He didn't even know.
You're going way too many details at once. I thought we were going to do one thing at a time. I'll address the imprisonment
Okay.
in the Gold Lantern ring. I think maybe I'm wrong, but you can clarify before I move forward. You're saying that all of these events take place inside of the ring? Is that what you're saying?
Not what I'm saying. What the Brainiac here says is, as soon as we discovered you, keep in mind that's whenever he shows up and attempts to use those Great Darkness hacks on everyone, that we removed you from reality with a combination of our powers. And they say just before that, you're inside the Golden Lantern ring. So we know that that's the case. And he even says, while you were playing Cowboy God, keep in mind the entire time he was in the reality he thought he had entirely altered and controlled, that he was like just being laughed at by everyone here while they dealt with the problem.
Yeah, so that's not even close to what happened here. After Batman goes back, after the Vandal is caught in the past in like the 1800s, they move him out into the prison and then they store him inside of it.
Okay, so
like you're saying, you just said that all of the events took place inside of this ring, including the Guardians of Oa's trial, including all the other heroes that were in there as well watching over him.
No. He was in the ring.
Your argument.
He was in the ring for this whole Cowboy God shit. No, like it literally tracks.
Your argument doesn't track then, because you're telling us that. No, it doesn't.
Yeah,
it doesn't track in the slightest,
really
because this event here is when they imprison him and they put him inside of it at that point. So
okay, he says the entire time. He says the entire time you were playing Cowboy God. Okay, so this is the last panel we see before the Cowboy God stuff happens. He walks back into the Great Darkness. He heavily implies that, like, yo, I fucked up everything here, and I've given a gift to myself, which is like my new timeline after I wiped everything away, right? Do you not think that that's what happened here? So, like, the next time we see him and we're doing the whole, like, spaghetti western thing, and they make fun of him for playing Cowboy God inside the spaghetti western, do you agree that Aquaman here is making fun of him for his entire time inside this reality where he's questioning Batman?
No, that there's absolutely no evidence that everything there in the 1800s scene was taking place inside of this ring. Like,
That's
Vandal's
funny.
sitting in a prison.
No.
He's sitting in a prison waiting for sentencing. And they're saying while he was playing Cowboy God before these events, while the Great Darkness was dealt with and contained.
Okay.
So what you're saying is like there's an inception happening here where like they stick him in the ring after all of that. And then there's other events, and then while he's in the ring, he's going back to the 1800s, and then they deal with the Great Darkness, and then they contain it, and then they come back to Vandal sitting inside of the ring, saying that he did all of this inside of a fake creation.
That's literally what's said on that final panel. But let's just work on a little bit.
No. It is not literally what is said in the panel at all.
You can think that, but like let's just focus on.
No, I can read that. We don't have to think that. There's no interpretation needed.
But like, let's just focus on the events of the Cowboy Western shit, okay? Do you think
which take place in the 1800s? Okay.
Okay, it takes place in the 1800s. Keep in mind, after Vandal Savage allegedly looks towards the whole crew, absorbs everyone into darkness, and says the Age of Heroes is over. Okay, I've cleaned you all out, and that was my goal. All right, so now moving into the Cowboy Western bit, like obviously Vandal's here. Vandal's like, yeah, I got Batman locked up. Fuck you. You're an idiot. You're worthless. You don't know what you're talking about. And I've been trying to share my art with you here because this new world that I have made, Vandal's words, not mine, is awesome. And you can't even see it all. It's an age without heroes. Okay, so implying that his plans to destroy the Age of Heroes works. And he goes on like this whole villainous monologue about now that that age is over, I think we can really appreciate how shitty you are, Batman, because you suck. And Batman asks him, like, man, I just can't figure out how you did it. Right? And then we cut back to them, and Batman's like, and Batman asks again, how did you do it? How did you create a Great Darkness that wiped away an entire timeline? So Batman here seems to imply that he did, right? And Vandal says, well, finally he begs for the answer. You're mourning a timeline that never happened. You, Batman, never happened. The Green Lantern Corps never happened. Their OA tech that I used to rip apart your world, keep in mind this is Earth Zero Batman he's talking to, never happened. The Great Darkness never happened. Would you agree that Vandal Savage is wrong in every single one of these statements?
Yeah, because your your point here is that this is Earth Zero Batman. Showing the scans right here, it's not Earth Zero Batman. This is a completely different variant. I don't know where you got Earth Zero Batman from.
Do you think
Maybe need to
Vandal?
reread
Do you
this.
think Vandal Savage would have taken a random variant Batman to posture to instead of the Earth Zero one he trapped in the Great Darkness axe he has? Is Vandal that stupid?
Vandal is that stupid because when he punched.
Actually, you know
after
what?
this
I'm
scene-
with you. I'm with you. You know what? You actually did win me over. He might have thought that because, as we find out, this isn't even Earth Zero Batman. It's one of the Legion of Superheroes pretending to be him.
That's what I just said. It's not even Batman. So
Yeah, but
again, I'm
that's,
showing the
that's
comic
the
right
point.
now on my end.
That's the point. Even
But
Vandal
you
Savage is
just-
surprised
no.
by this. Even Vandal
Lumos.
Savage was surprised by it. He was like, I thought you were Batman. You're not even Batman.
Lumos, we got to stop with interrupting while you ask me something and then I answer and you're talking over me. You got to
Okay,
stop.
go for it. Go for it.
Okay, well.
Yeah, go for it. I
So
got time.
you said originally that this was Batman, and then the
Vandal
next scene shows
Savage.
Batman
Vandal
on
Savage
the
thinks
other
it's
side.
Earth Zero Batman. Yes, I do.
Are
agree
you
with
not
that.
listening to what I'm asking you? Like, please, just let us talk. I'm not going to interrupt you.
I just want to
Don't interrupt
clarify.
me when you ask me questions.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Okay, got it. Good. So you're debunked when you just said 2 minutes ago that this was Batman, and then I told you it's not Batman, and then you flip and say, "Oh wait, it wasn't
Okay,
Batman."
obviously I'm
so,
speaking from the perspective of Vandal Savage who thinks it's Batman because I'm trying to
Lumos.
figure out what you think.
Lumos,
It's not
I'm
even that
trying
hard of an
desperately to be
extrapolation.
respectful. You gotta stop interrupting. If you're gonna ask me stuff, let me answer
Okay,
it
true, but
instead of cutting
If,
me off.
if you quote me inappropriately, I'm going to correct. But go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, well, you're the one that said that was Batman from Earth Zero until I told you no,
Because
it's not Batman.
Vandal
you
thought it
flipped
was, but yes.
Okay, sure. Yeah, and you changed the context only after I said that when you realized.
I haven't changed it. No, because I actually read this story, so I didn't, because I know the whole story.
I'm sure you have,
But-
Lumos.
but-
I'm sure you have.
but let's
it's
not-
just a coincidence.
Let's
though,
not
right?
veer off
With
in
more- with
worthless
even
drama
more
complaints.
interrupting-
Oh, yeah, okay, let's just continue. Okay, let's focus.
With even more interruptions, as I'm asking you 3 times in a row to please
Okay.
just let me talk
Yeah,
when you
let's-
ask me stuff.
I just want to continue the conversation forward, because this is needless drama. So, like, let's continue the conversation forward. Continue with your thought.
Sure, we'll continue after you concede that you got who this was wrong to begin with.
Oh,
And
only-
you only changed your
Only if
argument
you
after I
concede
told
that
you it
you
wasn't
didn't
Batman.
understand the perspective I was having a conversation from, because Vandal thinks this
That's
is
your
Earth
fault,
Zero
then.
Batman. Okay.
It's your fault if you don't explain it, and then
okay.
you ask
Hey,
me.
okay, I'll explain it. I'll re-explain it again since you clearly didn't
Alright.
understand my
I'm
point.
gonna interject here. Both you guys just agree it's Earth Zero Batman, then we can move on from this. Or not Earth Zero
No,
Batman.
Will, it's not Earth Zero
Yeah,
Batman.
not Earth
No
Zero
one
Batman.
no one here is arguing that this is legitimately Earth Zero Batman, because we know he's a Legion of Superhero member who is transformed into Batman for a ploy. But Vandal Savage
Alright.
thinks it's Earth Zero Batman, which is the important thing. Because why would Vandal Savage be bragging to a fake Batman that he didn't know was that Batman, or an avatar, or like another multiverse variant of him, when he says that it's your world that I destroyed?
Alright, look.
Yeah.
And we know the world he came
that
from.
It's not Earth Zero Batman, so let's just move on from this point.
But Vandal
Yeah, I'm fine
does
with that.
Vandal does think it's Earth Zero Batman, which is important for the context of the story.
yeah, both you guys agree there, so let's just
Do
move
you
on.
agree with that Vandal thinks this is Earth Zero Batman?
Are you talking to me or Will?
Talking to
You.
Will.
No, I'm
Or-
talking to MJ. I'm talking to MJ.
No, I said it wasn't Batman, so like, there's no confusion.
No,
on
no,
my
no,
part
no.
that
What
was
about
not Earth
Vandal?
Zero
What
Batman.
Vandal Savage thought it was? Because he clearly didn't know he was a Legion of Superheroes member. You stated earlier that you thought it was maybe just some random multiverse Batman, right?
Well, no, I didn't. Random multiverse Batman was the wrong thing for me to say. It wasn't random multiverse Batman. Like you're saying.
Okay,
it
so-
was not Batman.
Okay, so who?
That was my
Which
original
Batman?
statement. Like,
Which
nothing
Batman?
changes.
Which Batman do you believe?
Jesus Christ! This
Which-
fucking guy will not
Which
stop interrupting.
you can
me.
keep drama. Okay, but like, which Batman do you think Vandal Savage thinks this Batman is?
I'm not going to speculate into headcanon. Who the hell knows what he thinks?
Well, Vandal
Who cares?
Savage.
What does that have to do with anything?
Because it's very important, okay? Because in the prior part of the story, his entire intent was to destroy Earth Zero and the Age of Heroes from the Prime Earth. So logically,
He
this
thinks
would
it's
be that.
Batman. Like, who cares?
Because the Earth Zero variants are the most important out of any of the figures across the multiverse, so affecting our multiverse exclusively would be the most important for Vandal Savage to do. The fact that you don't
Well-
think that's an important thing shows a lot.
what does our Earth? What does that mean?
Because
what are you talking about?
Because
ours?
affecting Earth Zero and the main variants of Earth Zero affect everything past that, like in the multiverse. So if Vandal Savage was having a plan that was intended to attack the Age of Heroes and to affect everything that was, he would attack Earth Zero, not random Earths in the multiverse. Is that something you agree on?
You're making up a headcanon with no actual evidence, and you're using this as justification with no evidence on your side, but you're asking me for evidence for something that doesn't exist.
Genuine question. Do you think Earth Zero has more significance?
Lumos, I am not here to debate who has the better arguments subjectively. I literally don't.
I'm just asking for your opinion. But if you don't care about an opinion that rolls into the core thought here, that's cool. We can move past that. I'm 100% fine with that if you're not willing to engage with this. But let's continue forward with the story here then, if that's not the case. Clearly this was not Earth Zero Batman. Clearly this was a Legion of Superheroes member who was faking as Batman. And this is something that Vandal Savage clearly did not know about because he says shit. As if he did not know, right?
We get to move forward with that when I was the original one who said that, and then you said, no, it's a variant of Earth Zero Batman. Then you realized, no, it's not, and then you changed immediately, and then you started filibustering.
Okay, if we want to play that word game, we totally can, but let's just continue on. We're obviously not getting anywhere with that, okay? So
Sure, make whatever your other argument is, let's hear it, and I'll do what I can.
You watch him punch the wall where the Legion of Superheroes dude is at. And then he's like, fuck, dude, how? And the whole time they were watching and they're laughing at him saying, I'm smarter than you. Okay, this takes place chronologically in the story after he wiped away everything. And then this is where the conversation starts, where he says all the things where you're inside the Gold Lantern ring. And he says, I know now, implying that the events of everything to do in the past have occurred.
Yeah,
and he says you have been for quite some time.
This is a completely incoherent argument because there's frame skips in the panels between this and the next scene. You're watching this scene with.
Hold on, I'll give you the scenes. I'll give you the scenes. I'll show you each one by one. I think I need to
right now on my end. Lumos, you have a problem interrupting everybody. If you're gonna ask me stuff, wait until I'm done, and then you can talk. And I'll let you talk, okay?
Well, you said you didn't have the panels. I just figured I would show them. You said I didn't need to, but we're clearly not comprehending things, so I figured I would help enlighten things.
On my end, I'm showing all of the panels. So we're looking at Vandal here on panel, punching through the wall, and then all the other Justice League members are on the other side. And you're saying this entire thing takes place inside of the prison area of this ring.
And they say you have been for quite some time.
Again, Lumos, what is wrong with you?
Go for it. Never mind. You know what? You're right. I'm being rough. Go ahead.
We see that Vandal is sitting there in this clothing. Okay, we see him sitting there and all this, and then there's a skip, and we see him in prison because that's what happens when cops take prisoners to prison. They're in a different location. Okay. It's unbelievable. Like, what you're saying here is completely incoherent nonsense. They took him into the future and then put him in the prison there. He's not, like, that entire scene is not taking place while he's sitting down thinking about it. You're saying this is all virtual reality or like some kind of conceptual virtual reality happening?
He could trap him in a pocket dimension. Yeah, he literally trapped him in a pocket dimension.
What are you talking about? Lumos,
yeah,
there's
look,
nothing
bro.
here.
He says, as soon as we discovered you, we removed you from reality with a combination of our powers. The spaghetti western god shit, when Vandal was running around, that was all him there. That's why whenever he punches through the wall and the Justice League is there, they're not already in the future. They're just inside his ring watching him. And then they go on to confirm that down at the bottom of that panel where they say, for justice to be served, we needed multiple levels of confession, psychic, metaphysical, and verbal, and now we have it. And that's because the guardians of Oa, or the elders of Oa, were watching those events happen. They had to set up a situation where he would admit fault. And via his time in the spaghetti western god shit, he admitted fault.
No, see, you're reading this in a way that you want to. We're going to be literal here. and show the actual comics where he punches through the wall.
it.
Then they take him to prison in the far, far future, and he's sitting there. And what you just said, where they need psychic and metaphysical and verbal confirmation, the
Yes.
psychic part of it was already explained earlier in this comic to be the other psychics that merged together and found out that Vandal was behind all of it. So you're making up a headcanon here about this psychic thing. They're playing inside of some kind of virtual reality conceptual.
Look, it says it right here.
No, it doesn't. You're making it up.
Psychic,
you're
metaphysical,
making it up.
and verbal. Would you agree that in his time as spaghetti western
Lumos,
god?
I just told you, Lumos, I just told you that your context for the metaphysical, psychic, and verbal is completely different from what the comic book source material says. You're injecting a headcanon here that doesn't even exist anywhere in this comic because the psychic.
You're just making stuff up, bro. It's crazy. Like,
what are you talking
going.
about? Do you want me to show the other panels?
Show away, bro. I'm showing them all on stream. I'm not hiding anything. If you don't believe me, look. You can fucking pull up my stream. I went through these one by one. Everyone here is watching time work linearly across this comic besides you. You're saying that there's huge glimpses of time in between a panel where we see a character bust down a wall and has the superheroes in front of them. He's immediately, like, you see the golden barrier around them, and then we're here. And they say, you've been locked in here for quite some time, trapped outside of reality via a combination of our powers the second we saw you. The second we saw you was whenever he stepped out of the Great Darkness to attack them in the first place. So, like, this is just the status quo. You're trying to argue, like, 10 things past this, and that's cool, but you're just making stuff up, if I'm being honest. There's nothing.
No. See, there's
nothing.
Like 5 things wrong with what you just said. You said it's not some kind of far thing in the future when the panel literally tells you that you've been in here for some time. So there was a very large time skip. So you're telling me that
specify while you were playing Cowboy God, but yeah.
I'm literally no. See, you're again. This is headcanon. You're not listening to the source material. You're injecting your own version of this. You're injecting your own version of what the psychic element of that means. When the comic book told you that the 3 psychics merged together to find Vandal Savage, they're the psychic element. The other metaphysical element is just the conceptual power of the Great Darkness.
Can you show me the 3 psychics? Can you show me the 3 psychics? Can you show me the 3 psychics?
I already posted it in the chat.
Then just put a dot. Just put a dot to it.
What? What you want me to draw on Discord?
Just reply to it with like a period. Yeah. So I know what you're talking about.
Like, dude, this is where all the 3 psychics merged together, and they found out that Vandal was the problem. They were looking for Epoch. Remember that? Do you remember? And then as soon as they said Epoch, that's when Vandal's like, oh, the game's over. They figured everything out.
Oh my god. There's no way this is happening live. This is fucking crazy. You think these are psychics?
What are you talking about? The 3 psychics
This
merged
is
together.
Triplicate Girl. She's not a psychic.
She's not a psychic. You're telling me they didn't merge together their psychic powers.
Triplicate Girl is not a psychic. She just has multiple bodies.
Oh my goodness, dude.
You don't even know these characters! Did you read this run? Hold on, I gotta show this to the stream. This is fucking crazy. Look up her powers! Look up her powers! I had to do it just to make sure. This is fucking Triplicate Girl. All they did was separate, and because they got separated at different points in time, they were thrown inside the Great Darkness, and one of them aged up a ton compared to the others.
Lumos, you're filibuster. What the fuck does that have to do with anything?
Well, because I can tell you.
Together,
I can explain it to you.
As soon as they came, shut the fuck up, dude. Stop interrupting.
My bad. Go ahead.
The fuck is wrong with you? As soon as they merged back together, that's when they found out the truth. That's the psychic connection. What the fuck are you talking about? You're literally making up shit.
Can you show me
What are you talking about?
Can you show me the psychic connection that granted them? Oh, what was the exact phrasing that we needed? Hold on, let me find it. Where's that damn scan? There we are. They needed a psychic confession. How does these 3 combining themselves mean a psychic confession for Vandal Savage. I'll wait.
If we merge into our R1 self, I'll have a better chance of perceiving what happened to us. How are they perceiving this? How are
Each
they
one of
feeling all
them
this
knew.
stuff out?
Each one of them knew what happened. That's not new information.
No, they didn't. What are you talking? Now that's a fucking blatant lie. What are you talking about? The whole scene here is they have no idea what's happening. They have no answers.
No.
And then they
You
get
misunderstood.
together.
You misunderstood what I said.
No. See, this is a lie. You're lying out of your ass
Oh,
here.
super.
This
I'm
entire
so
scene
lying. I'm here to
they have
lie.
no
That's all I
clue
came
what's
to do.
going
Yeah.
on. They have no clue what's going on.
Okay.
I'm literally showing it on my screen right now.
Okay, each one of
And
those
you're
triplicate
telling
girls.
people not to use their eyes and read everything.
Each
What are
one
you
of
talking about?
no, please do.
This is what
I have
the
them on
context of
scan.
this was,
I'm
dude.
not hiding
This
anything
is what
here.
The context of what that was. Batman
Notice-
and the others had no idea what the answers were, so
Yeah,
they merged together.
yeah, and these
now,
three girls
now they're
fusing
able to
together-
perceive what happened.
These
and you're
three- they
going to
didn't-
revise and change what the word perceive means.
These three combined back together, and they were like, "Damn, that was some crazy shit." And we weren't even sure if we could recombine with her since she was like aged up, and we still don't really have an idea of what's going on here. She even asks afterwards, "I don't even know who Vandal Savage is," and they're the ones who bring up this shit. Like,
Okay, so then you just debunked yourself because you said they already knew. You just said that. They already knew this. They didn't have to
that's
do that.
once again, you didn't understand what I said. They already knew what was happening inside of their own specific
I'm
realities
going
that
by
they had
what you
journeyed
said.
to. Well,
Lumos.
you're going
I'm
by
going by what
the
you said.
worst possible interpretation of what I'm saying,
Which
rather
is
than
your
actually
version.
engaging with what I'm saying. You're just trying to assume negatives, and it makes you look bad. Can you please stop? I'm trying to actually have a conversation with you, and I'll admit, you know what? Maybe I can be rough, and maybe I can interrupt a little bit. I just like it whenever you say something that contradicts what I'm saying because you use a lot of mistruths to guide the conversation. I don't like that, so I have to clarify.
Yeah, I love how you say that, and then I'm like yelling at you for getting it wrong, and then you tell me you didn't do that like 5 seconds
Oh, that's
ago,
because you
which
weren't
means
engaging
don't
with what
have
I
a
said
good enough memory.
properly.
And I love how
It's
you
all live
are
stream.
continuing to interrupt
I
me.
don't have anything
I love
to
how you
hide.
say just a little bit though, and you tell
No,
others
I'm
that you're not
matching
listening to
energy.
anybody.
You're raising your voice and getting really mad. I get it, bro, because you just got blown up for thinking Triplicate Girl was using her powers to get a psychic confession from fucking Vandal Savage. That's unhinged. But like, it is
And
what it
I love
is.
how unhinged you are, where you interrupt me 1,000 times. You say, I've only done a little bit. And then you tell everybody,
You know what?
these three
Maybe I'm
triplets
doing it a
already
lot,
know
yeah.
everything. They already had all the data. Ignore that they're out there trying to find the data. Ignore that.
They didn't have the data to fuse to get a psychic confession from Vandal Savage, which was the entire point
Okay,
you
got
died
it.
on.
Then
at the
you
beginning of
lied.
this.
You either lied or you
That's
don't
not
know
a
what you're
lie.
talking about.
Okay, so hold on. Let's brush past all the drama and bullshit one more time so we can get back to the point.
Right. Call it drama
At
and
the-
bullshit when you're caught lying. You're
Oh,
literally caught
I
lying.
was super
saying one
caught.
thing,
Oh
and then
yeah,
I
you got me.
debunk you.
Oh, here we go. Drama, dude. Feed on it more. Okay, back to the point. Okay, so at the end of this comic, Batman says for justice to be served at this level, they needed multiple levels of confession. Confession has to come from Vandal Savage. And he even says, why put me through the charade? Just above that. Implying Batman saying, for you, the whole reason we made you play for Cowboy God over here was so we could get a confession out of you. Multiple levels, psychic, metaphysical, and verbal. And they got them all due to their time inside him while he's playing Cowboy God. Okay? And then Vandal Savage immediately afterwards gets quizzed for why the fuck he tried to break reality. They call him a great darkness. And that's only because they didn't know he had a ring wielding those powers. After which he pulls that out and attacks them. Right? We agree with that, right?
Yeah, sure. And I'm gonna laugh so hard when you don't understand how this debunks you. But yeah, keep going.
Okay. So, Vandal attacks, and at this point in time, it's Brainiac, after he attacks the Golden Lantern, who says, there it is, the source of the Great Darkness, talking about the ring itself. So, like, the ring absorbed those energies, and we have a confession before on how he did it. He used Owen technology to effectively just create a lantern ring that could absorb darkness hacks.
Yeah, no. There's absolutely no evidence about absorbing the Great Darkness or hacks or anything.
Do you
like
think
that.
the
It is the
Guardians
source
of the Universe had a ring of Great Darkness then?
No, it came from Vandal's corruption of the Gold Lantern ring.
He didn't have a golden lantern ring. There's no evidence for that.
What are you talking about? They show it on his ring on his finger. That's the Gold Lantern ring. Again,
It is
the
a
character at the end of
it is a golden ring with no insignia on it whatsoever. So we don't know
This
if
is
it's a
gold
golden lantern ring.
dude. This is a gold lantern ring.
It is a ring that's colored gold. We don't know the context of whether it is the same ring as the golden lantern ring. Do you have evidence for that?
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. Give me that ring before you destroy yourself. Actually, I think I'll start over right from here. I learned a great deal from this. This was his ring before, and then he tells you at the end of it, yeah, you know, this was working out so well from me, this small interaction, because I felt a strong connection that I've never felt before, because that was his ring, and Vandal took it. It's a Green Lantern ring. What are you talking about?
It's not a Green Lantern ring because golden lantern rings aren't even green. But like even
so how does this lead to the Great Darkness being ended or not?
Because it is the claim of Vandal Savage in this that he ended the Great Darkness, or it never was as a result of his actions. I'll post that scan right here.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, this is where this is in the spaghetti western time where he's just trapped in the Golden Lantern ring and being made fun of everyone, and they need a confession from him. This was the confession, okay? This was everything that he said he had done.
Right now,
I can't.
You, what he's saying right now?
You literally can't because he says the Green Lantern Corps died.
He wants evidence of why Vandal Savage would be right or wrong here. They needed the confession, and then Vandal confesses that he did this. He made it so it never happened. He's mourning that timeline that never happened. Vandal's admitting this. They agree that this is true. And then Lumos is sitting here trying to tell others that nothing happened, even though that they got the confession from Vandal and they confirmed that he did do this.
I want you to keep in mind.
Does it make any sense?
I'll answer. I can make sense of it. I can make sense of it since you clearly don't have the skills to do so.
I really hope
let's
that
follow
you have
up.
evidence from the source material.
Okay,
that
so
shows us
let's
this
use.
Confession.
I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna get there if you don't interrupt.
No, you asked me. You get to be quiet while you ask me questions. That's how this works.
Well, you just asked me the question. You asked me to explain this to you.
You're the
but
one
go
that
ahead.
asked me. No, I didn't ask you. I'm not done talking. I want evidence, is what I said, but I'm not done yet. I was going to explain what it was.
Keep going. Yeah, you want evidence, and then, but yeah, go ahead. Okay, yeah, evidence in the source material.
I want the evidence.
Okay, basic deductive reasoning. Let's look at what he says inside this panel here. He says, "You mourn a timeline that never happened. It never happened. You never happened. The Green Lantern Corps never happened." I don't know about you guys, but I think Batman did happen in the main timeline. I think the Green Lantern Corps has 2 active series running right now. They still existed. And the fact that the Elders of Oa exist in the future to make their technology and everything along those lines also implies that that's also true. The Justice League being in the future in general also proves that that's true because the Age of Heroes wasn't affected because they were removed from reality. Lumos, and placed inside the Golden Lantern ring, and they made fun of him.
Timeline. You're making up bullshit. It's another timeline that he took all that out of. He deleted a different timeline. What are you talking about? The main timeline. What are you talking about?
Do you think that the Justice League inside this story? Do you not think that they were the main iterations of the Justice League from Earth Zero?
They're from a different timeline, Lumos.
I understand.
They're from a different timeline.
I understand. Legion of Superheroes is in the future of the Earth Zero timeline. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a different timeline that Vandal removed. What are you talking
Vandal was attempting to alter the Age of Heroes for all of time, not just one universe, all of time. Unless you think Vandal Savage's best laid plans here were to eliminate a random universe in the Orrery of Worlds.
Okay,
even though these are stated as Earth Zero characters.
Your argument is I have no evidence and you're making up headcanon. You're making up your own version of the story. That's what you're doing. You have no evidence here. Nothing. Zero. Nada. Nothing. You're making up your own version of which timeline this takes place in. You're like, no, this is the main canon. This is the main time. It's not the main canon that he was talking about that he destroyed. What are you talking about? You have no evidence. That's why you're saying this other thing about the main timeline. What are you talking about, Earth Zero's main timeline? This is a completely different timeline. The Great Darkness was a time void, is what Batman said. You even said at the beginning of this, which is why I led you into.
Yeah, that was affecting all of time.
I knew you were going to say this.
Yeah, it's affecting all of time.
Say this, and I led you into it.
If you knew I was going to say this, you're doing poor, bro.
Attacking multiple timelines. Okay, it's attacking
here.
multiple timelines, dude, and you're making up your own version of the story.
Hold on, if
When
it's
they talk
if
about
they're
a
just
timeline,
affecting other
you are
timelines, then
revising
what does this
what that
matter?
means.
This
You're
is just some
changing what that means
fucking
with
goat
no
screw
evidence
losers in the middle of
on
nowhere.
overhead
Then why
canon.
would this be relevant at all?
It's again, you're asking these questions to dodge and deflect what you're making up.
So,
You don't want
I don't
anybody
know,
to know
man.
that you made this up.
I looked up-
and that's why you're asking me what I think about
I
it.
looked up,
why this,
on,
why that. Well, how come this? Well, how it doesn't fucking matter. Dude.
Yo, that's
it doesn't
crazy.
Matter.
That's crazy because when I look up on League of Comic Geeks who the characters are for this story, it says Earth Zero Prime Earth, and then has all the characters from there. They have all the same outfits from that exact same time period. Do you have anything implying that this isn't the main continuity Earth Zero superheroes?
Your argument is they're wearing the same general suits in the
I went to a trusted place like League of Comic Geeks, and they specify this is Earth Zero Prime Earth.
Terrible argument. That is the most low tier terrible argument ever. If
what
it's
evidence
the
do you
same
have
group from a different timeline? They're wearing the same suits. Why would they wear different? Why would it be different? What are you talking about, dude?
This is the most cope shit I've
if
ever heard in my whole life.
If you take Superman and Batman from right now and go to a different timeline in that continuity, they're going to be wearing the same thing because it's a different timeline.
Yeah, so you agree that they're originally from our timeline. The main continuity Earth Zero. You just did? Oh my god, no! Save me, people. Okay. I feel this is good, boys. I feel like I've made my point here. You have no evidence. You have no evidence.
Which timeline is happening?
You have no evidence that this is some random timeline.
And
if it is, okay, I went to a website that catalogs all the appearances of all of these characters, and they state this is Earth Zero Prime Earth. Black Adam is currently on the League.
Different timeline. It's all that Prime Earth's different timeline. Do you not understand DC Comics and how timelines work?
Typically, when people talk about Prime Earth and they talk about the modern day and all the problems from the main Earth are still affecting those heroes, they're literally gearing up for the Dark Crisis inside this run. Like, dude, you are
timeline that never happened. He deleted that timeline. You're saying it's the original timeline.
Yeah, that's because of a misconception on your part.
When you go back to the original timeline, Lumos, it's still there because he deleted a different timeline. You're not even reading this.
Different timeline, dude.
What are you talking about?
You're just going so hard right now.
Timeline, and you're the one telling
this is all the timeline of Earth Prime.
The original timeline.
It's all the time
of the original timeline.
Yep, it's all the time of literally Prime Earth. And if it wasn't, Vandal Savage is an idiot because he's affecting random other ones.
Now that you're realizing that you were
I can find things referencing this as Earth Zero. Can you find anything implying?
Your argument was that they wear the same clothes. What are you talking about?
And I also went to League of Comic Geeks, which clarifies exactly where characters are throughout their entire history in each one of these stories.
In the universe itself, but it makes no mention of the timeline differences.
Which is why sometimes you have to rely on tertiary material. Which is why you have to rely on tertiary materials.
Lumos, you're telling your subscribers that
and hold on. His goal
don't have more than one timeline.
His goal was to target. Well, obviously, every time stream has an infinite amount of time streams. No one's arguing that. You're arguing you're boxing shadows right now. You're boxing shadows right now. Okay, nobody's making those claims. What I'm saying is Vandal Savage here with the powers.
Claims except for the last half hour of you saying it.
I can clarify in case you're not intelligent enough to follow along. I totally can.
You're gonna make fun of my intelligence when you're the one telling people that Earth Zero only has one timeline?
Nobody said that. You're literally just coping right now.
For a half an hour straight.
Nope. I'm arguing that I can explain it to you. I can explain it to you if you're not smart enough to have heard what I said. I'm saying that Vandal Savage is attacking all of time. Right? His goal
flipped on something you already said.
His goal is to attack the Age of Heroes across all of time and remove all heroes from the timeline. Now, if Vandal Savage's goal was really to take a single timeline on the infinite timeline of DC and brag about that, that's the biggest L for him ever. But that also wouldn't reinforce anything to do with him being capable of harming the Great Darkness or disappearing anything on that level. If the most he could do with that level of power... No, if the most he could do with that level of power is control alternative universe or alternative timeline variants of like heroes, that wouldn't amount to much, and it would nowhere near equate to the capability of like the Great Darkness, and all of those
That is
statements
more
were
headcanon that you're just making up.
immediately
More
disproven because we know that Vandal Savage was attacking their time that they go back to in the end. Because all those heroes go back to that same time at the end.
No. Here's Lumos making up.
It must be good.
That this is
It must be nice to just rely on headcanon for everyone else.
Power. This is his maximum power. He can only do this one universe at a time. This is Lumos literally making up stuff with no evidence whatsoever. And we've shown before. We've already shown the scans that Vandal's intent here was to make it hurt slowly. So it makes sense that he's going to every timeline that he can, one by one, to make it hurt so he can experience defeating Batman over.
Do you have any evidence of that? Can I see a comic panel of him saying, I'll delete each timeline one by one?
We have the evidence of Vandal saying he wants a slow burn.
He was just talking about that timeline, though. That doesn't say what you think it does.
Listen, Lumos, you're saying it's illogical to listen to the character tell you that he wanted to make it hurt. And you're also ignoring the fact that he said he's mourning a timeline that never happened, but then they go to the other time, the main timeline, and it's still there.
Yeah, then they go back to the same timeline and they laugh at him.
He deleted another timeline, dude.
Okay. You know what?
And you also made up a headcanon right after that of Vandal's maximum power being this one timeline or this one thing. You made that up out of nowhere.
That's all the evidence we have.
You're limiting it yourself. You're making up your own.
And he's affecting everything. His goal is to remove the Age of Heroes, like permanently from like the strongest one.
That has nothing to do with anything. Removing the Age of Heroes.
That's what he said, but yeah.
Has nothing to do with what you said. You're linking things in.
That's funny because I started my argument with that, but clearly you're not paying attention. But it's okay, dude.
No, clearly you're not even listening to your own argument or what I'm telling you.
I'm super
right
not.
Now.
That's why I was so afraid of recording this and putting it out on live stream.
Lumos, everybody can hear you make up fake baseless claims.
No one's hearing me say that shit.
Vandal's maximum power. You made this up, dude.
I only go by it based on what people demonstrate feat-wise. So, like, if somebody has powers,
it's another head.
That's all he demonstrated. But you know what we can say is that this man, however strong you think his max power is, he tied the Golden Lantern after pot-shotting him, and then he lost to Guardians of the fucking Universe. Do you think that this dude who lost to Guardians of the Universe is really like that guy? Do you think that alternative universe Guardians of the Universe are like beyond like the Great Darkness?
Absolutely.
What? Dude, you're the biggest Lantern fanboy I've ever heard, which is crazy coming from me.
What a shame. What a shame.
You just hold on. I just want to clarify. You think random Guardians of the Universe scale above the Great Darkness, and like Ganthet and the Quintessence, multiversal variants across all of space and time were horrified of the Great Darkness making it here. They were shitting themselves.
Yeah, they originally, in the original timeline, the original era of that original timeline, they had no idea what it was. They were scared of it. In the future, they found out what it was and were like, yeah, we could stop this. No problem. And they did. So again, they stopped Vandal Savage.
They didn't stop the actual Great Darkness. That's like the funny part.
The source of the Great Darkness was the ring, and they shut it down. So again,
yeah, for this event, they even specify at the end of the story that this Great Darkness, implying there's others.
Change everything that we read. You changed every word.
Grant context.
Your argument literally is don't listen to the comics tell you this.
No, my argument is read the fucking comics. That's my argument.
No, your argument right now is that the Guardians of Oa are not more powerful than this, even though we saw them in the future do this.
I think they scale above Vandal Savage because Vandal Savage didn't demonstrate anything doing with that beyond losing to them.
Again, fan theory, headcanon, deflection of what's actually going on. 100%. You're revising things your own way. You're not even listening to the comic. Again, we saw Vandal Savage himself say this. We saw him say it.
And we also saw everyone else laugh at him like, yo, you're a fucking idiot. You were trapped inside this Golden Lantern ring instead of thinking you were God.
Timeline that never happened. It never happened. You never happened. The Green Lantern Corps never happened. They're Oa tech that I used to rip your world apart. Even that never happened. The Great Darkness source of energy came from the future Oa guardians who were way more powerful in the future than they were in the past.
Keep in mind, because he had grabbed them from the past, and the elders of Oa in the future were the same ones who locked him up, and thus they never had. But yeah, that's cool.
Fan theory goes against the comic books. I'm reading
fan theory.
Vandal
That's crazy.
himself say this. It's not crazy. You only love to tell your subscribers that it's crazy.
I'm live, dude. I'm so manipulative. I'm so evil. Oh yeah, drink more drama, dude. Keep going for it. Yeah, bleed that drama dry, bro. Go for it.
Okay, you sound like a totally coherent, insane person.
Totally. I sound just like you. I sound just like you every time you start going off on the, oh my god, you just don't understand. You just can't. Dude, everyone here is engaging with the materials. Everyone here is engaging with materials besides you. Okay, chill.
Materials. Again, another
okay, well, you know what? Let's engage with some more materials since clearly we couldn't engage with those ones. And let's go to our second. Our second.
I'm the one reading it out for you, and you're the one engaging in headcanon. And what if this? Well, you couldn't do this.
Here we go, drama. Oh my god, here we go again. More drama. Let's just move back to like a different point where we can actually see about moving ourselves further in the conversation. Let's move to our second topic.
So can I say something real quick?
You got to concede that you're wrong.
You literally can't read, so like I'm not admitting to that.
I literally just read it out for you, and you said no, that's not what happened. We're not. You really think that that's what's going to happen?
Your memory of what just happened is crazy too.
Well, you didn't understand that the Great Darkness energy and the technology came from the future Guardians of Oa. They're way in the future and way more powerful than they are in the current timeline. I'm the one reading this out, not you. You're the one giving headcanon and fan theory.
Yep, 100% fan theory.
Look, I have a question. This one goes for Lumos. Under the assumption that he is in the Lantern Ring, why do they force the confession of wiping the timeline if he only damaged it? They needed 3 different ways to confess due to, struck protocol. So why get an inaccurate confession?
Because the Guardians of the Universe are real fucking assholes, and they require those 3 levels of confession whenever they commit somewhat of a crime.
All right.
So they had to trap him in there in order to get that confession from him. Otherwise, they could not face their justice, as stated on the panel.
Okay, MJ, this one's for you.
But wait, before you say that, can I address what he just said, and then you can ask me a question?
No, just ask the question.
Okay.
I really don't care. But look, MJ, this question is for you though. If they contain the Great Darkness, right? And Vandal was in the ring the entire time.
That's another one for Lumos. I give you multiple questions to ask them because they were spurting out.
Okay, yeah, because I can't fucking moderate this shit. I'm not even gonna.
I don't expect anybody to moderate. I don't expect anybody to moderate by any means.
No, yeah, I mean, I gave Will's questions to ask you guys because you guys were like kind of going on and off topic, but he's reading it wrong.
Okay, yeah, I
mean, I'll ask him if you want me to. But...
You can go for it. You can ask if you want. I don't care.
All right, Eve, can you do it? I can't moderate.
Yeah, so the first one, it was strict, not struck. That was a typo. Because of strict protocol, why would they have an inaccurate confession, like destroying the entire timeline, when it was only damaged, according to you? That was supposed to be the question.
The question is more so the fact that things were damaged, and they had to have proof of the thing that did it. And if that thing was a person, they needed 3 levels of confession.
Yeah, the reason I asked for the 3 levels of confession was because if they're that strict that they need 3 levels, why would they accept an inaccurate confession, which is destroying the entire timeline?
That's because that's what he thought they did. That's like what Vandal Savage was trying to actively do, and he admitted to trying to actively do that. And we know that those actions did occur because things were damaged, right? He just didn't get to finish his job. Because he was brought into the Golden Lantern Ring before that could happen. Thus appeasing the Guardians and respecting the Golden Lantern.
Okay, this isn't my debate, so I'll let MJ address that later. Now I'll ask MJ the question. Okay. If Vandal wasn't in the ring, why did Vandal bring up being in a charade?
Because they kept asking him for it. Like, that's what people do when they're in jail. Like, the cops come and they interact with you, and they put him sitting on the ground. That's the charade of just keeping him in like an empty place, and like an empty interrogation room.
That's not a charade.
Okay, and the follow.
It's the good cop.
Okay. No, yeah, MJ, I get it. Yeah, good cop, bad cop. I get it. Okay. And then the follow-up question to that was, why was the entire league behind the wall and tell Vandal that he was outsmarted?
Well, because they knew that he was doing this in the 1800s, and they went back and they were waiting for him to punch through the wall, and they were on the other side just waiting for him. That's exactly what we saw. Like, they knew he was doing this. They knew exactly the time era to go back to take him. They knew the safest time period.
But if they never existed, how did they go back in time?
It's not the same timeline. What are you talking about? We've already been through that.
Oh my god. Okay. All right.
I'll mute up now, and you guys can like argue over this point. So it was just like specific points.
Moving.
Over to, like,
No. I think we're just gonna continuously move in circles on those exact same points. So we're gonna keep trudging forward, boys. Okay. Let's move on past the Great Darkness no longer exists, or whatever the last argument was. And we're going to move forward into the Perpetua stuff, okay? Was Perpetua a dream? Was Perpetua a dream made up by Darkseid? Dreamed up by Darkseid, okay? Now, I'll admit, I'm a little bit unsure as to your points here, so I'll let you explain like your position on this.
No, it's fine, Eve. It doesn't matter at this point. Okay, so how do you want me to format this? Do you want me to go section by section?
Just give like a...
Or do you want an entire thesis like you were doing?
Just give like...
try to debunk the entire thing.
Just give like a...
Because I'm more than happy giving you a few things at a time and then having you respond to each one. I'm going to let you dictate the rules on that.
Let me be a little bit more specific here. Okay, so you believe that Darkseid dreamed up Perpetua, correct?
I believe that Darkseid manifested Perpetua.
Or manifested them.
Other alien stories, yeah. And that Nyx Wotan dreams all of existence, which makes Perpetua a dream, sure.
I think let's stick to when and where that happened. Okay? Can you provide me an evidence of on panel Darkseid dreaming or manifesting Perpetua as a concept?
Yeah, sure I can.
And then, can I ask a follow-up of, before you post it, is it in, does this take place in the Odyssey run?
Yeah, of course. That's exactly what was stated.
Okay, cool. I'm glad we're on the same page then.
Yeah, me too. Just give me a second through here.
Yeah, no pressure. I understand how annoying it is sometimes hunting for a scan. Okay.
There you go.
So, let me find the actual scan here. Because this is all cut up. I don't want there to be any, I don't want people to say I'm leaving stuff out on the old stream, so I gotta find this one specifically. Oh, where is that stupid-ass scan? Okay. Now, that being said... Oh my god, did I really do it this far down? Jesus. Okay, here we are.
It's also not helpful that every time we try to go through folders and also record, it's also like really laggy and shit. So.
Oh, I feel that. God damn it, man. Apparently I'm just brain farting on finding this damn scan. Okay, so can you think that this scan is proof that Darkseid is making an action that believes Perpetua into existence?
Yes, because the source material tells you that he created a weapon and that was going to change everything. And his weapon was shown in the next panel to be what this is. And they have no idea what it is, and he's explaining in context what his weapon is, and then Perpetua's giant face appears on the next panel.
Okay, we definitely disagree about the events of everything that has to do inside this entire story, because I don't think that our acknowledgement of this story is going to be anywhere near one another. You're saying here that he does, he says that, or you think that he is doing this here? What item is he using here to do this?
It was the hyper adapter. Or the father box, which is a different version of the hyper.
It was an other box, but yeah, it is a box. Yeah, it is an other box. And what proof do you have that a hyper adapter is inside this box?
that a hyper adapter is inside of the box? What are you talking? I've never.
Or
made
my
that
bad, not the hyper adapter. What evidence do you have that this created Perpetua? Because this scene here is not evidence of that. This was simply the other box telling them the history and the future of what's going to happen. And she was the world-ending event that was coming that he is running away from because he had to build a multiversal panic room to escape. Because he saw this shitty thing coming, right? As stated in like the content you have just below this, right? Where he says, yo, like this is all the shit that was really bad. The end of times is coming, and Darkseid was the one who believed it. That's why I set up this multiversal panic room.
Okay, so a few things. Like I said, in the source material, right before this panel, he's explaining what his weapon is and going to be. The next panel shows Perpetua's giant face on it as part of that weapon. What you just said, I understand that you can potentially read it like that, but you're not understanding that Perpetua is part of everything that is to come, that the weapon is showing. And again, like,
well, she was
the authors.
She was the end of everything to come because, as Darkseid said, once the source wall falls, everything else falls with it. Like, everything will collapse as a result of that.
Sure, and we're going to get into why that is funny for my argument soon later. For right now, I'm listening to the source material tell us that Darkseid made this weapon using this technology. And that the
technology Darkseid had there was not a weapon, it was a multiversal lifeboat.
Okay, so literally on the panel right before this, he says it's a weapon. And his weapon that he manifested using this technology is Perpetua and all of the other sequences of events that are coming through. Okay, this happens literally after he says it. Now, why does it happen? My argument here is because in the source material, Darkseid goes through all the other hypertime creation myths from other alien planets, learning stories, and he learns about Perpetua being one story that nobody else believed in. It was only him who believed it. So he's manifesting this story into existence using this technology.
Okay, can you post me a scan? Can you post me a scan of the other box that he has being capable of manifesting beings into reality? Because what you've demonstrated in the first scan is not that. It's a narrator saying shit's going to be bad in the future, and Darkseid saying everything is already ending, the death spiral of the multiverse has begun, I'm trying to get the fuck out of here.
Okay, so we know that these technologies can revise reality on high levels and warp the entire multiverse.
Do you have an example of the other box warping all of reality to its whim?
He changed the name from Mother Box to Other Box.
Well, Other Box, like obviously, yeah. Do you have evidence of him doing this specifically with this Other Box? Because all the evidence I've seen inside of this is he had that Other Box, and then he used a bunch of ancient relics throughout all of the entire ghost sector that he had stationed there throughout all of space and time to get a multiversal lifeboat just capable of leaving creation. Okay?
Okay.
Their fates have been prepared by the hyper-time planning of the Other Box. The hyper-time planning of the Other Box was simply to transform them into new gods, which, keep in mind, took all of history for him to do. And the most he could do, the most he could do was, like, convince a bunch of people in the ghost sector that these people were gods. Would you agree with that? The source wall has already fallen. Darkseid already believes it's the end of everything. So what could he have used? Like, you're saying he's just now believing Perpetua into existence, even though the source wall's already fallen?
No, I think I've said multiple times that his plan spanned a very long time on this. I even have a couple videos that you replied to where I said that in my videos as well.
Okay, well, his planning for this moment with the Other Box is true, but if he had affected all of time via believing Perpetua into existence before our existence had began, why would he have needed to in the first place if she's the reason the source wall collapsed, and thus why he put his plan into motion?
It was Element X was the reason why the source wall fell in the Metal series when they used Element X to hostilely, I suppose, in their fight with Barbados.
Okay.
Crack the wall.
True,
It had
but
nothing to do with Perpetua.
yeah, Perpetua is out of the wall now. Would you agree with that? We even see Darkseid recognize that she's out of the wall.
At this point in Odyssey, in the scans that I posted, absolutely not. No, they're showing you that Perpetua is in a future state. So she didn't come yet.
Okay. So, even if all of this was prep, you're saying the concept of Perpetua was made up during Justice League Odyssey.
Made up by no.
Even though we have all of the creation stories that exist before this, or are you saying that you think that Darkseid had been believing her into existence throughout all of space and time?
No, I mean well, first off, we're going to get into the creation part where for some reason you're dead set on this Perpetua's creation is the actual main multiverse in DC. We're going to debunk that thoroughly later. So right now in the scans that I posted, Darkseid is now enacting the final portions of his plan using this box.
The portions of his
Perpetua.
My bad, go ahead.
Yeah, so he's using the other box to manifest Perpetua using the creation stories and other things that he learned about through Hypertime. So the other box reached back through Hypertime to establish your myths across the worlds of the Ghost Sector and all of that. So again, I posted the other scan where Darkseid says that he's the only one who believed this into being.
He's
the only one who believed this.
These are two very unrelated scans. He believed these characters into existence via his other box. Okay, this is true. There is no evidence based on what you've shown here that this is him dreaming Perpetua into existence whatsoever.
You're changing what my argument was and also what the original topic was. I never said that Darkseid dreamt.
Or my manifested her into existence.
I said that he manifested her into existence using the other box because that's what the source material tells us. Okay? Again, he used the other box to establish myths across the worlds of the Ghost Sector, and he was the only one to believe these things into existence. And as we see in other comics from Justice League, that it's Perpetua's story that is told and was kept a secret to most of creation and existence.
Okay. Do you think Darkseid could manifest a concept into existence greater than everyone else in the multiverse?
Sure, give me 1 second. Hold on to that. Let me get the other scan first, and then we'll address this concept that you're calling Perpetua. Got it. So here's the two scans I was looking for where they tell you that the story of Perpetua was kept hidden throughout the entire lot of the multiverse of creation. And then it's alluded to again, as I told you, or directly stated in Odyssey, that it was only Darkseid who came to understand this story and know it. And he was the only one who believed it. And he used the other box.
The worst part is that's just not entirely true because the Anti-Monitor, the World Forger, and the Monitor all knew of Perpetua before Darkseid even existed.
Okay, we're going to get into that. Like I said, you called Perpetua conceptual, the most powerful conceptual thing, right? That's what you said?
I just said a concept like Perpetua, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, you said it was the most powerful just a minute ago.
I said powerful.
Concept in general.
I said powerful, but go ahead. She's obviously not the most powerful concept in existence.
Give me
like the bat who laughs like beat the fuck out of her, right? And then obviously Golden Wonder Woman later on will be stronger, so like that wouldn't be true.
And my goat Superboy Prime.
Prime tied at best, but yeah.
So here's the author explaining on video that Perpetua is not conceptual, that she was entirely physical and had a physical existence, especially even after she got near her full power back. So what you said there isn't accurate at all. Perpetua was never anything but a physical entity.
Okay, so she's a
Again,
physical.
this is not my opinion.
She's a.
This is from the author. So what I want.
What's your opinion? I want to understand. I want to understand your opinion because I'm listening to you make the arguments. Yeah.
I'm gonna let you talk, but for my audience on my side, I'm gonna play the clip so they could watch the clip and hear that you said that Perpetua is a very strong concept, and I'm gonna show the author tell you that she's not.
She is a physical being that created it. That winds up diminishing all the mystery around it. So.
Okay, so he says she's the physical being who created it. Okay, if you want to take this as literal,
you got to just stop for a minute so I could let my.
Oh, my bad. I watched it. I assumed you were done.
Exactly,
I'll let you know when the clip's over. It's only like 17 seconds.
Yeah, go for it.
Hold on.
I watched it. Yeah.
Like predatory universe or multiverse, if you want to call it that. That she wanted to hide from her kind of beings. The hands.
Oh my god, what the hell is
okay,
this shit?
That's enough for me. So there's the author telling you that Perpetua is physical. Okay? She's not a concept. She's not conceptual at all. She's a very physical, tangible being.
Even if she existed in realms outside the concepts of space and time.
We're going to get to that, but I'm telling you what the source material
and can wield concepts, but that's not source material, by the way, but go ahead. It was an author interview, I'll grant you that.
Here's the source material telling
even though weirdly enough, you don't agree with any of his points unless they're downplay, but that's curious, go ahead.
Okay, sure, you can call it whatever you want. Here's the source material again, telling you that she was reconstituted in her physical form, so that's the source material.
She was reconstituted, yeah, I agree with that.
Got it. So she never achieved her more spiritual conceptual self, which is what the author said. So if you wanted to discuss author statements and death of the author, fine. I'm going to be respectful to Scott Snyder and listen to his story that he wrote. I'm also going to listen to the comic books tell us that she is not conceptual.
So you agree with Grant Morrison that he works, or you agree with Scott Snyder whenever he says he works with Grant Morrison to expand all his works then?
Sure am.
Okay, that's a hot take. All right, that's curious. I would not have expected that. That's actually pretty crazy. Fair though.
Yeah. So let me show you why. So this goes into my side. You just said that he's working with Grant Morrison
to expand,
to do all these things. Right. Okay. So here's an interview with Scott Snyder telling us that his metal series is a brand new lane and a line that we can listen to that is working with and in conjunction with the multiversity. So let me play this clip from my side, and then you can respond to that.
So it's trying to sort of just give new lanes to drive in within the existing cosmology.
Yo.
Within the existing cosmology.
Okay, so that's the author himself telling you that metal is a brand new thing using the multiverse map and Grant's multiversity comic book, and it's a brand new lane. Now hang on, let me show you.
Hold on, no, stop here. You're saying that something here implies this is a brand new lane or something? Where do you get that from this so far?
We're getting there. Just hang on.
Okay, my bad. I thought you were saying that's what this said. Because all this said is, yes, I do work with Grant Morrison, and it's a continuation of like his works in multiversity, like in the modern day, everything here. That much I agree with, yeah.
So that's a revision of what he said in the video. He said he's offering a new line to expand on. It's a brand new thing.
He did not say that in the clip you sent.
Yes, he does.
This is something that hold on. He says, so this is something that plays in conjunction with Grant's multiversity. It says he actually uses the map from multiversity. You'll see in the story. So, I mean, it's trying to sort of just give new lanes to drive in within the existing cosmology. So he's saying, I'm just working
brand new lanes.
I'm just working inside the current cosmology. So you're saying he's working with the current cosmology, correct?
That is what he's saying, that he's offering a brand new lane to drive
the lane being
in conjunction with the multiversity. So now here's Grant and his interview and what he says.
Bag on a napkin to show to Matt Wade, and it was like a kind of junction, like a train junction, where these lines, each of which represented different universes, meaning different comic books that contradicted one another.
Okay, so there's Grant explaining the context of the multiversity map, which Scott Snyder references. That all of the other numbers on this map, on the original multiverse map, were all hypertime lanes. Okay, and they're all different comic books.
They're all just different universes and comic books. That much I agree with.
Got it. So, and then we'll go back to Scott Snyder saying that Metal is a brand new line working with the multiversity map.
Yeah, but no, you took like a bunch of unrelated things and tried to blur them all together. That was like unhinged. All of the statements individually are true. All of those statements individually are true, but now you're trying to link them together like a constellation, or like stars you're trying to make a constellation out of. None of those.
You make constellations.
Well, yeah, but you make specific constellations with the stars. You're the one who has to draw them together. Duh, let's use basic reasoning. So, like, I think that
would be that when you look at an infinite sky with infinite stars in it, that you can actually generate a lot of shapes. Which is,
okay, true.
When you watch that famous Russell Crowe movie, and he's standing outside, the smartest guy, and he's showing his girlfriend all the stars.
And you just grabbed a bunch of random things to try and make a shape, and we didn't make an actual shape here. Okay, these are a bunch of random different statements, and I'll agree with each one of these statements individually, but if you try to chain them all together, it doesn't work because they're referencing different points in time with different stories.
Lumos, your defense here has no evidence to debunk any of this.
Your point doesn't stand because you're trying to write all these different things together with no reasoning. You're trying to grab random pieces.
I am trying desperately.
I'm trying to explain.
To not interrupt you or do any. Please,
you try desperately not to try to
wait until I'm done. You said I could do my entire thing and then you reply.
Okay, you know what? Fine, go ahead. Right? Go for the whole ham. Just go crazy. Okay, hit us with all this
things. Got it. So here's a couple things. You're telling me that when two authors say pretty much the same thing, that they're not the same thing, with no evidence or no reasoning behind it. You're only giving me nuh-uh.
Do you want me to respond or no? You're gonna okay.
Just wait. Just give me 1 second.
I'm going to make a strong statement saying you're stupid, but I'm going to go back to telling my story now that I'm done with that. But okay, yeah, keep going.
So you can call me stupid when Scott says it's a brand new lane in the multiverse map, and then Grant says these are hypertime lanes from different authors.
I can explain.
The logic is that if the one author says that his new series, his brand new, bold new rewrite, which is what Scott Snyder said it was, is a bold new rewrite, a brand new creation mythology that exists within the existing cosmology. It exists within the existing cosmology as a brand new lane on the multiverse map. That's what the author said. You're saying no. It's whatever your interpretation of that is. And you've offered nothing, no evidence.
I haven't gotten a chance to.
Stupid. You're only calling me stupid, and you're laughing because you think it's your way.
Oh, yeah,
you have no evidence to provide against it. Nothing. You did. I'm literally just telling you, listen to what the content creator said. He said it's existing in this. He's making a brand new cosmology in the existing cosmology. It's a brand new lane. Grant says these are all different hypertime lanes. Okay? All different hypertime lanes in conjunction with the multiverse map. I'm not changing a word of what they said. I'm playing out the clip, and you're saying, "Nuh-uh, don't listen to that. I'm going to revise it my own way with no evidence, and I'm going to call you stupid just for listening to the authors on their own content." So where's your evidence? So you called me stupid. Now I'll let you reply. Tell me what your evidence here is that when Scott Snyder says his brand new Metal series is a brand new cosmology, a brand new rewrite of the creation mythology, which you know that he said in those interviews. You know he said that. And he tells you here it's a brand new lane using the multiverse map in conjunction with Grant's multiversity in existing cosmology. So when he says in existing cosmology, there's other stuff that already predated it, and it's a brand new lane, just like he said it was. Don't change what he said. That's my argument. Respect the author, respect the content, respect what he said and the context of what he said, instead of warping it and changing it to your own version. That's what you're doing.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, that being said, once we're done with all that silly shit, okay. The comments set up top have nothing to do with one another. They both describe elements of the universe, or the multiverse at large. The first one is clearly talking about like everything being rewritten after the events of death metal, because they had to undo the actions of Barbados moving in their reality via the actions of 10th metal. We know that affected the totality of the multiverse and everything that spanned out afterwards. Okay, so they had to rewrite existence to make sure that he was no longer there. And they still use the exact same cosmology. Keep in mind, that's everything, not a universe, not a hyper time lane. Everything in creation was falling apart as a result of the things happening in Barbados. This wasn't like a universal, like a single universe being attacked. Barbados was threatening the concept of the dream, which we know is in the God sphere, and it was frying everything in existence by him being there. That's why they had to rewrite things. It's not a bold new rewriting of them not using the same multiverse or a multiverse map or concepts or even origin stories for any of the gods. All that's like pure cope. And the bottom comment here is legitimately just Grant Morrison saying like how time works. Like that has nothing to do with what's going on inside like the metal. Like this is all just like crazy cope.
Got it. So when I post a clip of Scott Snyder saying it's a bold new rewrite, that means don't listen to him.
Did he use the words bold new rewrite?
Yes, he did.
Okay.
Now,
bold new rewrite. How could we interpret that? Do you think it's impossible to interpret that?
I don't care what your interpretation is. I'm not here to argue or interpret.
Oh, so you agree?
My argument.
So you're arguing your interpretation then, right? A bold new rewrite could mean a variety of things. Yeah, and you agree that do you agree that that statement is interpretive? A bold new rewrite could mean a lot of things, or are you singularly believing your specific narrative on that and no one else's?
Now, how can you possibly deflect that? And when I'm showing video of the author saying it's a bold new rewrite and a brand new creation mythology, and you're saying, well, that could just be interpretation. It's the author.
Hold on, let me go back. Where did he say brand new creation mythology?
I'll show you in a clip if I can. If you give me a second.
Okay, yeah, send it. My bad. I thought you had already posted it.
So it's trying to sort of this is something that plays in conjunction with diversity. You'll see in the story. I think to sort of within the existing cosmology.
First one said we're playing within the existing cosmology. Okay.
Yo, how can I send larger files here? It doesn't let me send it.
You can just live stream it real quick.
All right, give me 1 second. Hold on. I have to do this the hard way.
Oh, no, MJ, just screen share it.
I'm gonna upload it to Imgur and see if that works. So he does say it's a bold new rewrite and a brand new creation mythology. So these are all videos that I posted before many times. Made many videos on this. So he does say that it's a brand new creation mythology. Plays in conjunction with Grant's map with pre-existing stuff. So brand new lane.
So if it plays in the exact same map, how is it a bold new rewrite?
Because it's a brand new canon, because I told you that all the hypertime lanes on the map are all the other author canons, and new author canons constantly get added to the orrery.
So they still call it Earth Zero afterwards? You're saying it's just everything in Earth Zero got rewritten from that point forward?
Okay, so again, hold on to that thought. We're going to get there. I'll touch on it real quick. You think that the Perpetua multiverse is the main multiverse of DC, and that there's infinite other multiverses and creations inside of DC Comics in general. So that's your problem. That's what you're stuck on, and we're going to get to that.
We're not going to agree on that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I know you aren't, because, like, again, this is what the authors say. I've already shown you.
The invisible extra multiverses that exist out there that weren't on Grant Morrison's map. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a snapshot in time, and the author of the map also says that.
Oh, this is just a GIF
with the DC history.
There's no sound to this.
Oh shit! Hold on.
Yeah, just live stream it real quick. We could do that. Oh my god, did you just really clip a short clip from your video rather than give me the original video? That's unfortunate, but yeah, we can work with that. We can work with that.
No, hold on. I'll have to find the original video. It literally won't let me do it. Hold on.
Yep, Rock, you be right. We're jumping into separate canon territories. Let's go.
Oh my god, it's still telling me that it's too big. Jesus Christ.
You know, while you guys are arguing, I was getting my ass whooped by Pyramid Head.
Skill issue.
All right, let's see if it works. I apologize. The clip that I clipped
It
was
happens
way
with
too
clips.
big, and it wouldn't let me upload it. So hopefully that'll work.
Nothing that crazy with this one, but with 6, I mean, the things that happen at the end are pretty bold, you know, and definitely rewrite a lot of sort of mythology of the DCU. And I think ultimately this year I really fell in love again, going back and looking at a lot of Kirby and a lot of sort of seminal stories that I loved as a child, both at Marvel and DC. I studied a lot of events, you know, and a lot of big stories from Infinity Gauntlet to Blackest Night, all over the place, and you know, Crisis on Infinite Earths, and those stories, what I realized they have in common is that they're daring. They're not afraid to redo creation myths. They're not afraid to say this is where we thought the boundaries of our imagination were when it came to this universe, and then pushing past it, saying there's a fourth world, and there's a source wall, and there's a presence, and all of this crazy stuff, you know.
He's talking about the totality of history, them rewriting like the origins for things that have occurred, and as time goes on, those origins have shifted and changed to encompass more and more knowledge. Originally, it was just the new gods, and then we expanded past that. Now we have the 5th dimension, and now we have the 6th dimension. He's talking about ever-expanding things, and this ultimately culminating at the end of Death Metal, which is the issue that he's referencing.
Again, your version of what Scott said. What Scott actually said, he's redoing creation mythology in his own brand new series. It's a bold new rewrite.
Not what he said. That's fucking cool.
We'll watch it again.
Watch it away, buddy. you can watch it as many times as you want. It's not changing anything. I watched it too. With 6, the things that happened at the end are pretty bold. He's talking about like the introduction of like judges and them destroying everything in creation, the revelation of things past where they are. Like, okay,
Eve, I'm gonna kill you for that. I hate you. Also, Lumos, again, headcanon, no evidence. You're making up your own interpretation, not offering any evidence to this. Show me actual evidence.
That's what happened in the story.
No, it's not. What are you talking about?
Do you want evidence that the multiverse was rewritten?
What does the 5th dimension being additive have anything to do with rewriting a bold new creation?
Because it wasn't there. Because that wasn't in the creation mythology before. They later on added it. Just like they added the source, just like they added the overvoid, just like they added. Well, he's talking about things as time goes on at the end of this specifically. Like obviously, he's talking about over the course of DC's history in general, everybody has added on to these things, adding mysteries and unique ideas towards like the totality of DC. And this is the ultimate culmination of that. They're just doing it once more to expand things even further.
Got it. So again, listen to the author or listen to Lumos.
I just explained what the author said, lmao. Okay,
explained your own.
So you
version
haven't
of
proved
it.
it. Hold on.
From what he said.
You haven't proved fucking anything in this
I
conversation. This is
literally
like
copied
unhinged.
and pasted what they said. What are you talking about, man?
Okay, you copied and posted people like what they said, and then just had like the worst possible translation of what they said.
I'm not saying translate anything.
Yeah, you
I'm
have
saying
to translate, bro. This is crazy.
Word by word. No, you don't. You're telling everybody that you have to reinterpret this your own way. I told you.
No.
This is what the author said in the video. It's.
I think the important thing.
Brand new cosmology. It's a brand new creation mythology.
Because he rewrote existence. The hands rewrote everything inside the multiverse to be the way it was just before the Bat Who Laughs attacked all of reality and death metal.
Perpetua's creation. It has only to do with that. Outside of that creation were infinite other creations. You actually think that the Perpetua multiverse, surrounded by the greater omniverse, is it. That's all. It's shocking to me because you clearly haven't actually read the comics.
Those are the only.
Especially in Flash Big Bang. That is not what the other authors have said. There are infinite multiverses. Infinite.
Nobody is saying there's not infinite multiverses. The Perpetua multiverse that existed. I know you don't believe this shit, but inside the Bleed, there are an infinite number of multiverses. After the events of the Perpetua shit, we also get more proof that even inside our localized multiverse, we have an infinite web of multiverses. Nobody's saying that's not the case. That's like a dumb hill to die on, right? You're saying there's extra multiverses outside of our omniverse and the greater omniverse? Are you going to imply that
the greater omniverse are the same thing, Lumos? They're exactly the same thing.
That's not true.
The greater omniverse, yes, it is. When the greater omniverse had a source wall barrier up, it was the greater omniverse. With no source wall barrier there, it becomes part of the regular multiverse again. It's all one omniverse.
Wait, what the fuck? Hold on. You think that there isn't there's two maps of the multiverse in with one another? Like layered on top of one another. I'm asking. I'm trying to figure out what you think because that doesn't make any sense.
I know it. You're stuck on this idea that the Perpetua multiverse is it, and that's all. It's just one creation. There are infinite other ones. Okay.
Yeah, out in the greater omniverse or in the Overvoid, there's infinite creations. We know the Monitor looked out. We know that the Monitor looked out and saw them. The Monitor looked out into the Overvoid and saw them. Okay, that map was outdated because people back then had not traversed out into the Overvoid. Even Cosmic Armor Superman couldn't see out there.
Which is nonsense. You're making up things that aren't even true.
Well, that's funny because Mandrak fell in. Mandrak fell in, and he didn't know what happened to him.
The very idea of him was lost, so you're making up
stuff. It wasn't lost. He went to the dark multiverse. So that's just not true.
No, you're making
He wasn't lost. His concept wasn't lost. His man just went to the fucking dark multiverse.
That wasn't the same Mandrak. I have the.
That's funny. That man says it literally is in that story.
Lumos, that's funny. I've already posted the author interviews.
I'm just saying. Look, I think I've proven time and time again. Every time you post something that's author oriented, it's nothing what you say it is, or you try to use like a bunch of them in reference with one another that has nothing to do with one another.
Kind of like how you're saying right now that the greater omniverse is a separate omniverse from the regular omniverse.
Well, they only call that concept an omniverse.
Everything above the source wall in this creation was the greater omniverse. Okay, with no source wall, there it becomes just a regular omniverse again.
There is no second omniverse.
And in the source material, you're revising and ignoring.
Show me one multiverse trapped in another. Show me in a scan. Show me in a scan two multiverses being contained upon themselves, because all the events that happen inside, like what you would call the Perpetua multiverse, which just was all of existence, is everything on the DC multiversal map. You're saying it's contained. Okay, yes, because we know there's true forms of characters that exist out there that appeared during those time frames, like Darkseid, I might add. So, like, he was in his true form. It even states true form inside the comic. And do I take your word for it, or do I take the comic's word for it? Just read the comic, bro. Darkseid says he's in true form in Final Crisis, and guess what? During Final Crisis, Darkseid was mind-hacked by Perpetua. So, guess what? Like,
Mind
Problem
hacks?
solved.
You're saying whispering to them is mind hacking them?
She whispered them to
You're
do
making
bad
up
shit,
stuff, dude.
and they all did it. Each one sought
Again,
to destroy
you're going
all
through,
of
like, 50
creation
different tangents.
because Perpetua wanted to destroy the Source Wall, and those were Darkseid's actions. Yes. Same with Mandrak. He got hacks too.
Okay, yeah, sure. You can keep saying that mind hacks is just whispering and all this stuff. So here's Harley.
Hey, whispering to make them blow up the multiverse. That's a little bit different than me just saying, "Hey, dude, wouldn't it be cool?" No, like you went and did it, bro. There's action
Oh
there.
my god, like Scooby talking like Scooby Doo. Oh my god. Okay. Look,
The worst part is
listen,
you're getting your ass
you're
kicked by
literally
Scoob in this
making up your
conversation.
own
That's the
shit.
crazy part.
The crazy part here, Lumos, is that so far, everything that you've countered with has no evidence, and it's completely your interpretation. And you claiming it's your interpretation. You haven't posted anything. You haven't shown anything. There's nothing going on.
That's because we're talking about your beliefs, and I'm trying to be convinced by your interpretation of things, and
you
your
think that
logical. Let me finish. Your logical conclusions don't even lead to anything. So I don't have to prove anything when you're claiming these are the events that happened, and I'm saying that's not even what you say it does.
Right.
But these aren't
again,
connected.
I post the source material, I post the interviews, and your version of that is to say, interpret it your own way. When I'm saying don't do that,
I'm
listen
saying
to them word
your
for word,
interpretations
and
don't
then
make
read off of
sense.
it.
Like
it doesn't matter.
I'm
what
trying
you
to
think,
listen.
though.
I'm trying to listen
Doesn't matter,
to
Lumos.
your perspective.
Your interpretations
But
don't matter.
I use logic
They
and
don't
reason
matter.
to bring me to conclusions. You are really good at throwing a bunch of information out there that's not connected and trying to find the connected things between them via headcanon. I get that.
Right, and you're calling it headcanon.
I look at the
You're calling it
materials.
Lumos. You're calling it headcanon when two authors say the same thing, and when the author himself says that his brand new creation mythology is working in conjunction with a pre-existing cosmology.
Yeah, the same one we've been in this
And
entire
you decided
time.
to change that into your own way. And you say, yeah, because and you're really good with taking a fact here from the authors. You're taking the source material from the authors and changing it into your own way with no evidence. So far, how long have we been
Well, it's your
debating?
interpretation of these
Literally no
things.
evidence to anything. You're
That's
only
not true.
giving your
That's not true. The
interpretation.
entire
Yes, it
first
is,
conversation,
Lumos.
the
You
entire
have not
first
posted any
conversation,
evidence
I
to
posted
anything.
a ton of
Everything
evidence.
that you posted is fan theory.
Everything
I'm
I
gonna
posted,
start
that's not
just
true.
talking
I
over
posted
you
about a
because you're
billion
not-
panels for the
you
first
didn't
one, and
post
now you're
anything.
angry, and you're
You
just gonna
changed
yell,
everything.
"Oh, it's so drama. Okay, look, the first conversation we
You can
had,
call it drama as
drama.
much as you
Oh my
want.
god, oh
All
drama.
you
Yeah,
did
feed
was
on it.
change
Yes,
everything.
yes, feed more drama. Okay, look, the first conversation we
Right,
had.
but keep talking
Yeah,
over me
drama.
and
Oh,
make sure
yeah,
that your
more
fans can't hear
drama.
what's actually
Yeah.
being
Oh,
said.
yeah. I'm so afraid of my fans going to your channel and seeing the schizophrenic arguments. Look, the entire first conversation we
Really
had, I dropped
schizophrenic
a ton
when
of
you get the
evidence.
author interview telling
Oh,
you
so
this, and
schizophrenic.
then
Yeah.
you
Oh
reinterpret
God,
your own way
drama.
and call it
Yep, I'm
headcanon.
interpreting
You
it.
actually
Yeah.
called
Oh,
Scott
yep. Keep
Snyder's
going.
own words on his
Yo,
own video
boss
as an
girl energy. Keep
interpretation.
Keep going. Okay, but back to the
You
point.
called Scott Snyder explaining his own series and interpretation.
No,
that we
I
don't
called your
Yes, you
interpretation
did.
of it
I will
like
clip it in the
handicapped.
video again that you said this. I'll do it again.
Oh,
I'll
clip
have to
away.
cut
I'm
it out
so
and put it
afraid of
right
you
here so
clipping
people
it
can see
on the Schizo channel we have. Okay, but look, if you're gonna try and prove a point and you're gonna try to post evidence to that point, the evidence you post has to lead to the conclusion that you want. It never once did with any of the things we've
I'm not
had
gonna
on
be
this
lectured
conversation.
by somebody who hasn't posted any evidence. To
The first conversation we have, I did nothing but post evidence.
I'm the only one here posting all the scans. Look at this. Look,
We're
posted
talking your
one thing.
points. We're talking your points. I shouldn't have to post things to justify your perspective, okay? I'm saying
that's the whole point, Lumos. They don't exist.
yeah,
The
because you
facts
don't make any
exist.
sense. Yes, your arguments don't make any sense. That much I agree with.
I'm telling you, read the comic, and that doesn't exist. I'm telling you, listen to the author in an author interview. That doesn't.
I read all
that
these
doesn't
comics
exist. What are you
as
talking
well,
about?
but the interviews,
You're incoherent.
the interviews
Everything
even
that you're
separate from
saying
your.
is
Oh, so
incoherent.
incoherent. Yep. Oh, so yep. You're right. 100%. Okay, you tell him. Okay, but like nothing you've said has like reached a conclusion. Well, you're gonna have to on your own channel, Brody, because like this is like the most coke shit I've ever heard. Just listen to the authors and source material, but my interpretations of their words, even though the logical building blocks for each one of those arguments don't reach a logical conclusion. None of that makes any sense whatsoever. You provide
Your
evidence.
version of this has literally no evidence whatsoever. You don't even want to try.
We haven't even gotten there yet because we can't, because you're still building your argument and
what are you
nothing
talking
is
about? We've
getting
been
there.
arguing for like 2 hours and you haven't posted a single
Because we're
objective counter to
arguing.
anything.
Yes, because we're arguing your specific
And you're changing
belief
it
system.
now, saying that you don't have to.
If
and
I
you're giving
say,
more justification,
if I say, hey man, I need to build a table, and you say, okay, table done. I'm like, I'm trying to learn how to build a table. And you're like, okay, take this hammer and smash all the pieces we have. And
That's
I'm like,
a really pathetic parallel that you're drawing,
okay.
Especially if I would give you a
interrupting.
guidebook.
Yep, drama. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. I'm yelling. Oh my god. Drama. I'm yelling. Okay, so like now you breaking of the table does not reach us to a logical conclusion. So like your evidence to building I know, and you're using it, which is crazy. So like the fact that we're here,
you're the one talking. You're the one using a table argument. I would be the one to post a guidebook on how to actually build a chair.
Yeah, you post a guidebook that doesn't say what you think it does. You'd post a guidebook that just says random things, and you would try to make sense of it. You say I'm interpreting things, but your interpretation of this shit is wrong. You can't even interpret what these guys are saying.
We understand you're trying to deflect from what the authors said already, and the evidence that I posted, and how you countered with nothing, literally nothing but whining and crying. And
if you make a strong position, and I say, but that doesn't make sense, I don't have to post. I don't have to post evidence. I don't have to post evidence to prove your point. I'm saying your statement doesn't make any sense. I don't have to provide you evidence for your statement to make sense. You're arguing schizo shit over here.
I don't care what your interpretation or your belief system is.
Yeah, because you don't care what anybody's interpretation is. You're showing evidence with no reasoning.
What source material said from the authors. And
evidence with no reasoning.
Don't listen to that. It's important that everybody understands.
Evidence with no reasoning.
Every topic he brought up, I gave you a scan for, and he reinterpreted his own way. Everything he brought up, I had an author interview explaining this exact topic, and he said, don't listen to that, reinterpret it your own way, and then he made an excuse saying he doesn't have to give evidence.
I just said,
have to do that.
We aren't even into me giving my perspective yet. We're not even to me giving my perspective yet. It's crazy that you could look at this conversation.
You're not giving your perspective for 2.5 hours. Are you delusional?
No, I'm not.
Drugs? You gave your perspective.
Are you
That's
not?
What the topic here is.
In this specific conversation.
Giving your interpretation and your perspective.
He's just yelling right now.
You're literally talking out of your ass. Nothing you say makes any sense. And
I'm just scared
to give me the actual evidence.
I'm just dropping a burden of proof. You don't have any.
Shut up, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Give me the evidence.
Get him.
Stop crying.
Get louder and louder.
Whining.
Oh, yeah. Keep going. You look so strong. Dude, you look so strong right now. Oh, you look so strong. Keep yelling.
Stop crying.
Oh, yeah. Get angry. Yeah, get mad. I'm crying so hard right now in case you can't tell.
You're literally in a corner crying saying you don't have to give me evidence.
I'm crying so hard right now.
You don't have to give me evidence. What are you talking about?
Well, you're the one making the point.
I
don't have to give you evidence for your points. Your point sucked, and so I'm not giving you evidence for your points.
What are you talking about, dude? I gave you thousands of
points.
He
doesn't even know how it goes.
You didn't give me a single counter that was objective. All you did was reinterpret it your own way.
If you say, wow, I have a scan that claims blank, and then you post a scan that doesn't claim what you say, then guess what? You didn't prove anything. Your point was never made. So like that's not a W.
You're just denying everything as I read out the statement. I literally read out the statement for you, and then you reinterpret it. We just went over this. I just yelled at you for this.
Yeah.
And now you're saying you didn't
because
do
you
that.
never made any sense reaching a conclusion. So if I say I'm gonna build a table, I'm gonna build a table, and then you smash the table with the fucking hammer you have, and then you look at me and say, just read the source material, it'll make sense. Okay, that's not proving anything. You didn't do anything.
Parallel to anything
that's a pretty big parallel, buddy. We might as well be on a fucking set of roads at this point in time.
Ever build a chair, telling you how to build a chair. That's the proper parallel. What you said is incoherent toddler nonsense that has nothing to do with anything because you don't know how to debate. You have no idea how to debate.
You're right.
You can't give me evidence
on
anything.
Getting so
you make
destroyed
up your own random
here.
Parallels to justify yourself like a fucking psychotic person.
I didn't justify my position in this specific conversation. I did the last one.
Oh
yeah, yeah.
Stop crying. And
he's so mad.
Evidence.
Yo, can anybody see how mad this guy is right now? Holy shit! You notice how every time I get louder and louder? I'm so shitting. I don't give evidence for your positions because I don't have your positions. Duh. Do you not know how to debate works?
Give me the evidence that confirms what you said. You won't even do that. You won't even do that.
All I said was your scans don't make sense. How do I make sense of your scans other than saying this is what he said?
What you're doing here is a joke. I'm the one giving you propositions.
So mad.
Evidence for what I'm saying. You're the one just talking.
Yo, I'm so mad. I'm yelling. Oh god, I'm so. My voice is so loud right now. The funny voices. Okay, are we finally done yelling?
Are we finally done with you shitting yourself in the corner? Too scared to give me
Am I
evidence?
shitting right now? Does it sound like I'm
You
shitting
are.
myself? I'm laughing at you,
You
bro.
won't
This
even
is
give
not.
me evidence
I
if
might
you
be.
whine
You know
saying you
what?
don't
I might
have
be
to.
shitting my pants laughing at you right now, but that's the most you got
Alright,
to do.
Sure, you
Yo,
laugh at
this debate's
Scott
kinda
Steiner and Brian
derailing.
Morrison saying the same shit.
It really is
Come on,
derailing.
dude.
I'm just. It's sad that
Yo,
we couldn't
alright,
reach
look,
any form of reasoning
this
here.
is what I'm gonna say. For the first debate you guys had, that shit was everywhere. I don't think anyone got that because both of you guys were like ping ponging.
I'd heavily disagree.
You know, going crazy. For the second one here, since me or Eve are not judges, I'll say for Lumos's viewers, I think Lumos's rhetoric was probably stronger than MJ's. Because MJ, I feel like MJ, you could have argued the whole dark side thing better.
I wish he would have just posted evidence that said what he claimed.
Because he never posted any counter to anything. And then
we were talking about your perspective. We were talking about your perspective.
We are talking about my perspective. I gave you the scans of it.
Which none of which led to a conclusion. None of it led to a conclusion that was your perspective.
Your version of it was empty. You didn't have anything. All you did was justify it, saying, yeah, well, this doesn't come to a conclusion.
Okay.
Where's the evidence of that? Give me the reasoning behind it.
I don't post evidence for your perspective.
Discussion. This is an education. You haven't replied
You're
to
right.
anything.
I should be getting paid to fucking tutor people right now. That's what it should be. But you know what? This is
for literally everything.
This is pretty much what I expected it to be. I'm not surprised, and I think everything I posted just before this conversation. Oh, such a coward that I showed up here and styled on you the whole time.
You don't have to post any evidence for anything. Rhetoric or not, it doesn't matter. I'm asking you. I asked you for this. You asked me for this.
The worst part is I'm not even.
You're not posting any evidence to a single thing.
We were talking your point, and that's not true because in our first conversation, I posted tons of evidence for the Legion of Superheroes versus Justice League. So you're just lying in that, and I have all the DMs here to prove it. So you can't delete those either. So that's kind of cute. You would lie about that. For the context of this,
edit out. So we'll see.
Edit out the photos I have in there proving that I posted them. What the fuck does that even mean?
No, I'm fully expecting you to edit out the parts where you made up bullshit about Vandal Savage and the timeline being.
How do I edit out the stuff I want in there?
Fun of you for being a loser on this.
You're making fun of me like an idiot, bro. It's not even good. You at least if you're gonna make fun of me, at least make it a W. You're saying I would remove things from there that would grant me credibility there because they're the original content. Like what?
Guy build a chair. Here's my genius parallel building a chair, and he smashes the chair, and then there's a chair that's broken. I'm a genius. That's basically what you're telling me here, and it's fucking pathetic. Shut the fuck up and give me evidence or leave. If you want a discussion and a debate, you have to actually provide something. Your opinion means nothing to me. I literally don't care what your opinion is.
Yeah, rant more, rage more. Okay, yeah, same.
Care.
I'm doing the same thing.
I don't care when you say, Lumos, I don't care when you say...
I don't care when you say it.
Interpretation of his own comic is not supposed to be listened to. I gave you the author statements. Now give me evidence to the contrary. Show me evidence for why you believe what you believe. I shouldn't have to educate you on how to...
We didn't even get to what I believe. I was trying to see...
It doesn't matter. You already made the excuse saying you don't have to.
Well, no, it's not about...
That's what started all the arguing and yelling.
The half-truths are fucking crazy.
So don't make this
I said I don't have to explain you making your foundational logic for whatever it is you believe. That's what I don't have to explain.
That is not what I just said. So you're making... Again, you're revising...
Yeah, because you were too slow to keep up with the conversation.
Give me
evidence
for your version. Give me evidence for your counters. Why you believe... Are you not listening?
Yeah, we didn't even get into that before you started crashing out, bro. You're crashing so hard right now. You're just yelling a whole bunch, bro, and it's getting old.
You can say that I'm crashing out. You could say I'm yelling and screaming. It doesn't
matter. But you literally are.
10 times. I told you 10 times. Give me evidence for something so I could build off of that. So I could have some kind of counter on my end. But you offered nothing.
Because we were building up your argument. Yeah,
Where are your stands? Where's your interview to counter this other interview? Why do you believe that
your
Scott
interview didn't say what
not
it did.
Be interpreted the way he says it? Why do
you didn't interpret
this?
him right?
Tell me the actual evidence.
I didn't
tell me what
I don't have to post evidence for you posting an interview and being wrong about what you're quoting in the interview. Why would I post evidence for that when you posted
by
it?
Just saying, listen to it. Again, it's your interpretation here with no evidence saying it's just wrong. It's just wrong. It's completely wrong. And I'm saying
because you're saying I'll explain it once more. Because you're saying it's a brand new cosmology. It's a brand new cosmology, like from the ground up, even though they reverted things back to where it was before the Bat Who Laughs attacked, which basically makes it the exact same verse it was before. You're acting like it's some sort of brand new thing. It doesn't have anything to do with anything. No, so that's not what happened. Okay, Wills. Hey, buddy.
Have you read Flash the Big Bang?
Yes, I did read Flash Big Bang. He ran out into the multiverse. It even has the Earths labeled up to like fucking 52 that were in there. The dude wasn't running around the greater omniverse, you know, the other worlds that exist out past ours in the overvoid. Yeah, we're just coping.
You're saying he wasn't? You're saying he didn't run into the greater omniverse? Is that what you just said?
No, he just ran into the Omniverse because after the events of Death Metal, we considered our home multiverse an Omniverse. Yes, that is true.
So then you just debunked yourself because everybody is going to know that you called everything above that the greater Omniverse. So without the source wall there, it's now all one Omniverse, which is what I said. Now you're agreeing with me, so you debunked yourself.
What the fuck is this reason?
What the fuck?
Yo,
I love how you go back.
None of that is what you just said it was. This man is
talking about. It was my argument.
You do realize
Omniverse until the source wall went down, then it became one Omniverse, and you called it two. Yes, you did.
Look, you're playing silly ass word games that are like really lame. Wills, it was.
Silly word games.
I'm glad.
Debunked the shit out of you as a liar.
That's a cute interpretation. Wills, I appreciate you for setting this up, man.
Okay.
It was nice, but clearly only one of us cannot scream at the other person the entire time. So
one of us took over an hour and a half to stop interrupting the other person, despite me asking.
Even if I was interrupting, I wasn't yelling. I wasn't yelling. Oh my god, who's yelling? But yeah, prove that by yelling more. But Wills, I do appreciate you for setting this up. This went pretty much how I expected it to be. I'm just ashamed I didn't get to any of the actual like content I wanted. Because this just evolved into us not even like making coherent arguments. You couldn't string together anything that was like rational.
Usually
so
it happens when somebody denies the source material and the authors and says it's just an interpretation.
Just bad interpretations of it, but yeah.
Yeah, so here's
I do appreciate you. I do appreciate you.
Flash Big Bang running out in the greater omniverse with all the other worlds like 118.
Keep in mind, it's not the greater omniverse. It's Earth 28. It's Earth 28.
All Crisis on Infinite Earths worlds.
Nope, just the ones past 52.
Here's the anti-monitor that he runs into that has been there the entire time after he says that he's tracking all the villains.
Just the anti-monitor inside the multiverse.
Except Darkseid, and he knows where the original anti-monitor is.
All assumptions.
Perpetua's son. Then he goes into the greater omniverse and finds the
anti-monitor
up there and is
keep on going.
That he's up there. I am going to keep on going because
all right,
you don't want to
it was fun. No, I've literally covered this on my channel, you dipshit. This exact comic I've covered on my channel, so that's pretty hilarious. But yeah, it was fun, Wills. We'll see you down the way.
He says he rediscovered all of these worlds. He's rediscovering Earth 33 and all these other worlds.
Those worlds are on the same map of the multiverse that existed before, buddy.
Of his own realm in the local 52. That's because it's part of Perpetua's creation. And he went outside of it and found the other multiverse.
Earth 33 was it? Yep.
Earth 33.
Yep. You tell him, buddy.
What are you talking about?
You tell him. You keep on going. It was fun, boys. Yo, that was hilarious as fuck, boys. Are we really listening to that shit? Yo, God tier. Yo, I'm gonna jump in the server for Guardian server over here. Or for Guardians only here. Guardian rank plus to see if anybody else wants to jump in. Feel free to jump in, boys. Yo! Welcome to the party.
What the fuck just happened, bro?
Lumos, I'm gonna keep it a butt, gang. You got folded like fresh laundry.
It's so bad. I got folded.
Terrible.
I got folded by his ability to not read. Lmao.
Come on.
Just so you guys know, we're still live streaming, so just don't say any dumb shit, okay?
Hold on. I'm not gonna lie, bro. Look, that entire debate makes me feel like Curator was just like a dream of Lumos's, and he turned that into reality with his fictional headcanon and then live streamed it for our entertainment.
The thing that frustrates me is there is so much. Oh, hey, yo, we got a massive super chat. Let's fucking go from pretentious prick pickle for $20. Yo, let's fucking go, my friend. Says, the main event we've been waiting for. You're not wrong. I'm honestly sad that I didn't get an opportunity to actually, like, engage past him just freaking the fuck out, like, for half of that shit. I'll admit, like, I felt like I kept getting interrupted, and so I interrupted back, and that apparently wasn't, like, he apparently did not like that shit. Some people don't like being treated the same way that, you know, you treat them, I guess, but, like, or, like, whenever they treat you that way, but, like, whatever, dude.
I had a question.
What's up?
For, like, the last part. So, like, short story, he would make a point. He'd, like, assert his claim, right? You'd ask for evidence. He'd post the evidence. Keep in mind, still on his point, by the way. You would disagree with the evidence provided justifying his point. And, you know, it would just be a repeat of that because, you know, that point would be dropped. It would go to a new point. Same thing happened. The cycle would repeat. And then he'd get mad whenever you don't post evidence for a point you never created.
Yeah, for his point. Because I have to create evidence because he makes a point that doesn't make sense and doesn't reach logical conclusion, that I have to provide evidence for him to prove that his sense doesn't make, like, his case doesn't make sense. No, it's just, your argument didn't make any fucking sense. It's fallacious in the first place. It's fucking stupid.
It's an insane burden of proof shift.
Yeah, it's like, what?
Yeah, no, it's his burden to prove the positive assertions he makes and not for you to post evidence to negate his. If you can refute his, like, evidence, then you don't need to post anything if it's just
well, and
wrong.
that's the thing that got me is I'll do that so many times, and I did that in the first half of this conversation with the Golden Lantern stuff. I demonstrated multiple times. Every time he posts something, it makes zero sense. Okay, he'll post. He's got a lot of evidence.
Didn't post anything?
Yeah, he said I didn't post anything that entire conversation when I posted almost the entire fucking issue, the final two issues of that fucking Legion comic.
You live streamed your Discord, and we saw you post it in the group chat.
Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. You can't retcon that. Why do you guys think I wanted to do this live? Because I knew this dude is really keen about using, like, small, subtle shifts in things against people and retconning history. You know what? He wants to be the very thing he thinks Darkseid is with the fucking hyper adapter. Okay, he wants to retcon history to justify his opinions a little bit more.
Yo, I will say, chat. I did take an L. I called and predicted that the conversation would go off topic within the first 5 minutes, but somehow it didn't.
I tried really hard.
But it only went off topic really hard towards the very end, 2 hours and 5 minutes in. So, you know, I did take an L. That gamble, I lost money on that, chat. It's tragic, but
it is what it is, man. And, like,
Lumos, just agree you got cooked.
I got so cooked. I was so angry in there. It's shaking in my boots. Or what stupid shit did he keep saying at the end? I was like, oh, he kept saying I was, like, scared or like a coward. Even though I'm here, I'm the one live streaming it in front of everyone. And I'm the scared one. Like, I'm cowering from him in the call with him, live streaming it to all of my fans. Like, I'm the one who's afraid of how dog shit his arguments were. Like, what?
Okay, hold on. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. Like, old Guardians versus the Great Darkness.
That was the funniest statement I've ever seen somebody admit to. That Guardians of the Universe would take out somebody who, in his eyes, made the Great Darkness never happen. What the fuck?
Like, okay, pause. Cause, like, we gotta take into consideration the repercussions of this, right? So, like, Guardians above Great Darkness, right? So, New 52 Hal, when he one-shots Krona with, like, at least You know, you could honestly argue like 7 creation level amps in absorbing each of the emotional entities. Hal one-shot him, and then Volthoom just like 0 diffs all of them. Hal scales above him even as a black... Yo, pause. That's the most paradoxical shit of all time.
Think about it.
So, Guardians scale above the Great Darkness. Volthoom scales above the Guardians. Black Lantern Hal Jordan scales above Volthoom. Black Lantern rings are made of...
Spock scales above them all.
Pause. Yeah, Spock slams. We know that. 1 sec.
Ah, he got folded. Jabargoda, how's the meme going?
Dude, that's going good. Like, oh my gosh, because I was listening the entire time, and oh my god, like it just like Lumos was like kind of just like chill the entire time. I was like, all right, so like here's this, that. Like, all right, here's the evidence. Or what's your argument?
I will admit. I will admit there was a few times where I interrupted because he would say a point that's so fucking like unhinged and was not what was on the panel he posted. I'd be like, wait a minute, wait a minute, like we can't even go past this, bro. You're trying to glance past this when we gotta talk about that. Like you can't just glance past that shit.
Yeah.
Same Black Lantern ring that Hal used to like fold up Volthoom, who's like multiple leagues above the Great Darkness, is made out of dark matter, which comes from the dark multiverse that, you know, Barbados scales above and shit, who's just a figment of Nix Uton's
dream.
Down.
Yeah.
I like how did you guys hear that shit? I was like, yo.
Pause.
Go ahead.
And Nix Uton got folded like Swiss cheese by a Gentry member who's stubbed the hand of the Great Darkness, an avatar of the Great Darkness, because the empty hand was a spawn of the Great Evil Beast, which was an avatar that was sent by the Great Darkness to topple heaven and shit. And the empty hand scales below the Great Darkness, who's below Guardians.
True. Those Guardians are fucking jacked, bro.
So we have reached the other head of the Ouroboros.
Yeah, that might be peak fiction writing, I'm not gonna lie.
Dude.
That might be like, that's poetic circular.
And I thought I ran into other people who repped the lanterns more than me. Like, remember that one dipshit who was like, yo, Hal Jordan's mind is greater than like God itself. Yo, yeah, I feel like we're, I don't even remember who that was, but like I feel like this is on that fucking level. Like this is that level of cope. Imagine saying Guardians from the Future scale above like Great Darkness. Like the Great Darkness itself. A guy who could wipe the Great Darkness from existence. But you notice how we went from like, yo, he's wiping the Great Darkness from existence to like, oh, that's just another universe.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait a minute, you think the Great Darkness is inside a universe or some shit? That he could wipe away a timeline and the Great Darkness wouldn't exist there anymore? Like, the Great Darkness has been stuck here ever since the first Great Crisis for a fucking reason. Like...
Bro, the two sides of the DC scaling is truly, like, comedic. Because, like, on one hand, you have, like, the regular people who are just trying to, like, argue with everybody else in the universe that Superman isn't, like, some planet-busting, like, max individual, right? Like, you know, Superman can, like, fight new gods, therefore he's not, like, planetary to solar system level. And then on the other side, you have motherfuckers arguing that the Guardians scale above the Great Darkness.
Yeah! What the fuck? Or even people, like, weaponizing large chunks of the Great Darkness.
You know, like, the people watching this stream, bro, y'all don't understand, like, the fucking gap between how far those two sides of the community are. Like, bro.
What people are scaling Superman below planetary? Is that, are the people like
Yes.
that?
Yes. Just yes.
Brian Michael Bendis.
Wow. Yeah.
Depending on which writer. Yeah, depending on which writer.
You know what's funny? Brian Michael Bendis is the writer of the Legion of Superheroes versus what you call the Justice League comic. That was Bendis.
Yeah, I think he's a creator. I think he's the creator of the Golden Lantern too, which is why all of that focused on it.
Yeah, and fucking Bendis in an interview was like, "Yeah, Superman might be planetary, but then again, I don't think there's a difference between Superman destroying a planet or like destroying a universe. So like,
lmao.
That shit was funny as fuck. He actually said that.
Rage bit. It's just rage bit, has me.
It really was for the most part.
Yeah.
I do got a question. Like, I was looking through the entire debate. I was like, damn, like, I just like, at least from my perspective, I was listening to the whole thing. I was like, damn, like 80% of that debate was just him freaking out. He was like, no, and I was like, yo, what's? He's like, no, Lumos, you need to calm down. I was like, bro.
You know what? I'll admit there was a few times where I started to match energy, and I was like, okay, yeah, maybe I'm getting a little unhinged. I'll back off a little bit. He did not back off a little bit, and so I just started to match energy again. He clearly does not like it whenever he matches energy, and I know that he plays this really big game where he tries to do like the whole moral high ground thing, where he's like, I'm just a frustrated guy, and the whole world's out to get me, and everyone hates me, and I'm just educating people and shit. And so the more unhinged he acts, like, bro, like, you're clearly not that guy. You're just like some dude who's arguing this point no matter what. Like, I'm giving basic refutations to what you're doing, and you're freaking the fuck out. Like, notice how that entire first conversation, I went through each one of those things, and I give really solid, like, criticisms with the direct evidence from the comic he was reading to say that's not the case. And then he slowly started getting more and more and more unhinged as time went on, because evidence makes him mad whenever you just don't agree with his interpretation, because his interpretation isn't what's said on the panel, or is in half-truths, which is like the frustrating part.
Yeah, it was pretty frustrating seeing that stuff happen in real time. Yeah.
And it's funny because his claims inside this conversation, I feel like, were a big stretch from like the content I had seen of his, like, the last time I had come across him. Maybe his opinions have morphed and evolved as time has went on. But like Darkseid, from what I remember, I'll admit, you guys can go back through the vlogs, but he was saying the Darkseid was like dreamed up Perpetua, and now he's manifesting it. But like, even if you want to say the manifest stuff, the scan he posted for it was Darkseid showing the Odyssey a device that combined a bunch of other artifacts so it could show them how fucked up things were to come. And he's saying because it showed them how fucked up things were going to become, he wished her into existence, or manifested her into existence, because in another scan, he believed the end of the multiverse was coming. Like, what? There's like three things that don't make sense here.
So I'll say this: he has been consistent with his whole like Nyx Uton, like dreaming everything into existence stuff.
That's fair.
That's just been.
But
he's always been saying that.
That much I remember. But to say Darkseid, because Nyx Uton can dream everything in existence, Darkseid can dream a being that's greater than existence. What?
No. It wasn't that. He was saying that, like, so he used the belief of like these alien species out there to manifest Perpetua into existence. And because Nyx Uton dreams all of existence into reality, therefore Perpetua is also a dream that was spawned from Darkseid's actions. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
That's like the whole thing.
That is not what he presented in this conversation.
I feel like that's what he was arguing. I mean,
I don't know, man. Maybe I'm misinterpreting what he was saying there. Even that would be a far cry away from the assertions I saw made inside chats that were in there.
Look, bro, some people don't think it'd be how it's not, but it is if it wasn't, okay?
All I'm going to say is, all of that may be true, but none of that has anything to do with Darkseid having done that. And the scan he posted for it was not of a scene where he was using the other box, which, keep in mind, does not have reality retconning powers on the scale of stopping the modern-day Justice League, which is at best what he would be capable of doing, because the only way they could stop Perpetua via time alterations would be to stop the Justice League from breaking her free from the wall in the first place. That's the best they could do.
Yeah, that was the entire thing Epoch was going to do. He was going to, like, just change their actions.
Yeah, and keep in mind, that was not Darkseid's plan, because the scan he posted is from the first half, where his entire plan is, I want to get the fuck out of here. I'm in a panic room.
Like, my question is, I'm surprised the what you call, Oh, what was that one item that you were researching earlier that was like
The hyper adapter.
Like
Yeah,
I was surprised that shit wasn't brought up. I was low-key disappointed on that.
I accidentally
But
brought it up at
either
one point
way-
in time, and I don't think it was brought up afterwards, simply because he knew
Oh.
I had researched into it at that point in time. I read every
Yeah.
fucking appearance of that
But,
dumb
like-
fucking thing for no reason.
What I'm curious about is like, bro, if the fucking other box or like the father box or whatever the fuck box Darkseid was using had like reality retconning ability, why the fuck did he need to make the miracle machine in All In? Why the fuck did he do
because
that?
his
man?
argument
He
was
just wasted his entire time.
His argument is mother boxes can go throughout time, and thus they have time retconning powers, so he could essentially have done everything there with his other box. Which, keep in mind, the reason why I brought up the hyper adapter before that is because he's never demonstrated that ability with his mother box, in the modern day. And the only thing that had was, guess what? His Omega Sanction, which is not a part of his other box, which sent Darkseid or sent Batman throughout all of time, and the hyper adapter had to be tossed on top of him in order to make all those things happen.
Lumos, it makes sense if you don't think about it.
Well,
Now stay with
it's
me
also
here.
the fact that in Odyssey, he makes it a point. I had to be careful with the other box when I made changes to the timeline, because I had to do it in such a way that no one would notice the effects until long after.
You're 100% wrong, Rock, because never once does he use that other box throughout the entire fucking run to alter space and time. All he does is link a bunch of random artifacts to it, and that creates the omnispheric shield that exists around the Ghost Sector to protect it and move it outside of the multiverse from Perpetua. That's all the other box does. It's the retcon machine that Epoch has that Darkseid later finds out. Here, I'll roll back to my, my scan page for that. And that Darkseid at that point in time says, damn, that's a banger-ass idea. I'm going to do that. Because Darkseid lacked the capabilities to do so. And if he did, he would have just killed Epoch, not used this, and used his other box to do it. Or he was too stupid to have done so in the first place. Like, what? Oh, let me find that. Where's the Darkseid shitting, or where's the Cyborg being a loser here? Okay, literally. Cyborg here saying, just listen to me while I have the freedom to talk. Darkseid is coming for Epoch. To kill him, Darkseid considers the Lord of Time's plan a viable threat, one that could wipe even Darkseid out of existence. So yes, he wants Epoch dead and also wants Epoch's machine. He wants the revision mechanism for himself. Darkseid wants to rewrite history, rewritten his way. He's heading towards you as we speak. Okay? Keep in mind, even if you think Darkseid did any of this shit, here's this beautiful scan at the end that says, we stopped him from recreating all of creation. The revision mechanism was a shortcut to that. Failed. It's like, that just didn't happen.
I was talking about when he set up events for them all to inherit new god powers.
Oh, yeah, that's just branches in the fucking... That's just altering the timelines of races to support him. But that is altering a bunch of random nobodies to worship a religion is different than going back in time and altering the events that form like the Justice League. Especially since they were all bottled up in worlds that Brainiac had captured. Like, that's foundationally different. If Darkseid had the power to do that shit on a whim, why has he never done it to Superman? Or everyone else in history that's a problem to him?
I'm still dumbfounded at the fact that people were, like, knowledge-claiming Vandal Savage.
That shit makes no sense to me either, bro. I'm just sitting here like, wait a minute.
Well, so knowledge-claiming Vandal Savage, asserting that Batman wasn't the main Batman, did not prove it, and then... got mad at you whenever you said there's no evidence against it, therefore we have to just take the base assumption. And I was like, oh my god! Like, bro. Okay, dude.
He really did start spazzing out there, man.
Well, like, the thing with the Vandal Savage thing, he's just like, oh, he punches the wall, and then headcanons that they captured him, arrested him, and brought him inside the ring.
Over some extended period of time that's not demonstrated.
Yes. Exactly. And I'm just like, or maybe we could just take what the panel says that he was just inside the ring the entire time.
Look at this. So you see everything begin to fade away around them here. The Justice League is there, and then he's in the cell across the room from the Justice League once more, and the Legion of Superheroes, just like he was before. They're like, yo, you've been in here for quite some time. Like, you were an idiot. All the cowboy god shit was just hilarious, and we beat the fuck out of you. How could you possibly look at this and retcon this from, damn, you just got your ass kicked, to, there was a bunch of stuff that happened off screen that is improvable, but I think happened, lmao?
You know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of, like motherfuckers who, like, argue the Itachi versus Sasuke fight. They're like, what? Half of that fight was just in Tsukuyomi the whole time? Cap. Like, bruh. Like, it was shown. Like, we saw it. Like, there's no way it was in Tsukuyomi. Like, I feel like that's, like, the exact situation we're in right now.
Like, imagine thinking that Darkseid, at some later point in time, like, I don't know, dude. I'm getting actual cancer. This is why I stopped responding to goons like this, because the amount of half-truths and deception that go into their words and even their scans. God, I was just going through something with Jobber last night where I was covering, like, this lantern shit, and I would click on a scan, and anytime I would click on a scan, the scan didn't say whatever it is they claimed. And I'm like, well, fuck, this would be a banger-ass scan if, like, you actually had it, but, like, you're, like, 3 layers removed from what's actually happening inside the scan. So, like, this was just that on such a larger scale, Jobber. I hate you.
Yo, Lumos. Yo, here's a battle for the ages. Lumos' ADHD versus Curator's schizophrenia.
Ooh, that would be a tough one. I will admit, I do ADHD hard, boys. I do ADHD pretty hard.
That might be a tough fight, bro.
But can I deal with the schizophrenia of, I think this character off panel did all these different things, except for anything that we see represented by what the characters say and their actions. That shit was unhinged, in my opinion, bro. Like, what? They all just make fun of him for being a loser afterwards, and you're like, no, that was another timeline. These are other heroes from other timelines that were not explained the entire run. And also, did you guys... That was the funniest thing I've ever seen in my whole fucking life. Whenever Triplicate Girl fused itself back together, and he was saying the psychics fused back together to have a greater understanding of shit. That was the fucking funniest shit I've ever seen in my life. They got psychic confirmation from the Triplicate Girl fucking fusing with one another. What?
And I'm just like... Bro, you don't know Triplicate Girl, the girl with the stupidest power? It's because she can make 3 copies because her planet has 3 moons.
Dude. But the fact that he was saying they already got the psychic evidence, that was before with the psychics who fused. What psychic evidence did they get? What psychic evidence do they have?
He called a character a fucking psychic, even though their power was literally making shadow clones, and then started calling other people head canonizers, bro.
Dude, it's insane! It's insane!
Alright, wait, Lumos, hold on real quick. I just made the thing. Here, post this as your thumbnail. Here you go. This is the debate thumbnail. I posted it in chat.
I actually used the thumbnail Don gave me a while back. I don't know, man. I don't like these kinds of conversations because it makes me into, like, it makes me seem a lot meaner than I actually am, which is really funny because normally I'm pretty charitable in these conversations. This guy's just a worthless, spineless fuck that dedicates a ton of his time to fucking sneak dissing me on his channel 24/7. So I've got no mercy for the guy, for anybody who's watching. There's a reason why things went the way they did here. I don't really care to earn friendship with him or anything. It was funny, while I was debating, I saw someone in the comment section say, these guys are going to be best friends one day, you wait. Hell no, we're not, okay? I can't be friends with him. I can't be friends with the 18 psychotic personalities that roam around his head like he's fucking Toguro. Okay, I can't be friends with any of them. We're living in separate. We're living in separate timelines. Sensui. Okay, or Sensui, yeah. We're living in entirely separate fucking timelines from this guy. This guy cannot read a comic book and understand a beginning, middle, and end because he adds extra pieces into it to make something happen for another story 20 years ago to make sense. Like, it's just unhinged.
I'm gonna be honest. Going to Curator for like comic book like scaling and or just general like comic book like literary recaps is like going to Trump to understand tariffs.
That's what that man baited me into this conversation with. Is like, yo, you're gonna compare me to Donald Trump's tariff arguments, but you're the one legitimately arguing that the words on the panel are contextually more meaningful based on your headcanon versus the linear story at hand. They say, lmao, you got caught and you've been in here for a while. Playing Cowboy God didn't suit you. You were just wrong. And he's like, nuh-uh. That was just a different timeline where that happened. And these all just happened to be the same characters, but from a different timeline who just so happened to show up here and stop him, even though he was destroying the Age of Heroes, keep in mind, which conceptually leads across all timelines. So, like, that's cute.
My favorite part was like the insane straw manning. So like he'd post like an author interview that was extremely cut up, right? He posted one about like Perpetua being said as physical. That was extremely fucking chopped. The entire point of that conversation, if it wasn't out of context, was saying that Perpetua being defined as a physical form removed all the mystery behind her being. That was the full context and like full sentence, but no, that was chopped up, right? But the funny part was like he'd post some dumbass fucking like author interview that was like extremely like cut up to like further his agenda. Clearly. You'd explain his evidence, and then he would say, "So what you're saying is don't listen to the author."
It's like, what? I'll be right back, boys. Keep the party going.
Oh, the fucking straw manning was insane, dog.
Yeah,
that stuff was crazy.
With this,
my thing is, he's just like, well, they were you. Why was Triplicate Girl doing that then? Because she went through 3 different timelines so that she could experience the event and give witness to all 3 attacks he was doing.
And notice how afterwards she's like, no Vandal Savage, don't understand it yourself.
Yeah. It was like, okay, damn. I was like, yikes.
I was like, this is how you know he doesn't know the Legion? Because you'd have been like, if it was a psychic thing that they needed, they would have gone to Saturn Girl. The literal team psychic.
It's insane.
He literally, bro.
They couldn't even get to like the main stuff because like he was just yelling the entire time. Oh my god, that's kind of a train wreck of a debate there.
I was robbed of a hilarious monitor conversation. Like them arguing whether like the monitors came from like the Ogre Void or like the actual like Marnovu. I was robbed of that conversation.
Honestly, like
I would have loved to see that.
I don't even know if there's having those conversations with him, because you notice how every time I would state a position, he would go back and try to retcon my statements to make his statement sound like better. I spent most of this conversation going back in time and saying that's not what I said. I'm clarifying on what I said. Even if I did say that, you know what? Here's the position in case you're not smart enough to like keep up with the conversation. This is what I believe, okay? You can't say, that's not what you said, you don't believe that. Well, no, I'm telling you what I believe, okay? If you didn't hear it right, that's fair. Maybe even if I miscommunicated it wrong. Okay, that's fair. You've done that this conversation too. You even self-admitted to it. So, like, let's go with my actual position versus a misconception or a misspeak, even if that were the case, okay? Let's just grow up and like, actually figure out each other's positions. And I feel like I spent a pretty considerable amount of time attempting to, understand his perspective and logically run down where his reasoning would go. But if it was a train, every car on the train is supposed to lead me to the conclusion, which is the engine. And at every time, it would be one train, and then there would be nothing on the other end linking any of the other trains together. It's like, bro, what the fuck? How are we doing this right now? None of this shit makes any sense.
That's a nice theory. Yo, someone call up Grant Morrison.
Bro.
I need to hear it from the author instead of Lumos.
Yeah.
Where Grant Morrison at?
He only believes the old Morrison special, apparently. But that's not true. He believes in Scott Snyder whenever it benefits his positions. It's funny I asked him that question about, well, so you believe everything Scott Snyder posts then? Well, then he should have no issues whatsoever with this being a continuation of Grant Morrison's work, all within the same multiverse. They even use the same multiverse map inside that run specifically. Let me pull it back over, just so we're all on the same page. Like, clearly Darkseid's using the same multiverse map as Grant Morrison. Look at this shit, bro. It's the exact same one. The only difference is Apocalypse and New Genesis are gone because they got fucking nuked along with most of the other Godsphere structures.
Look, it's bad. It's bad when, like, he's trying to argue that Grant Morrison uses the term lines or lanes interchangeably with the way another person uses it. No, not that. No. Grant Morrison uses the term line or lanes the same way Scott Snyder uses the term line or lanes in context, in reference to different things 10 years apart, interview-wise. Fucking Grant Morrison's interview is, like, fucking almost, like, 10 years old or some shit, whereas, like, fucking Scott Snyder's is, like 10 years later.
Well, that's what I was saying, bro. It's like he was trying to draw a constellation in the sky with a bunch of random bits of random stars that exist, and you can do that, but you didn't make a shape when you were done. They were just random disconnected pieces of information that had nothing to do with one another. They don't justify each other or anything along those lines.
Blood was trying to make a sentence with no words.
I don't know. It feels really weird to me that for you to post evidence and me to, like, laugh at that evidence and be like, yo, you can't be, like, doing that, buddy. Like, come on, like, this doesn't even make sense. And for that to be seen as a negative thing, that makes no sense to me. I'm just like, bro, what?
Yeah. It's tragic. It's tragic.
It is what it is, though. Lumos, not surprised.
So, Lumos, when are you and I going to debate Itachi versus Pain?
Never. Not on the fucking stream, that's for fucking sure. I don't give a fuck.
Pat, he's ducking. He does not want this debate, bro.
No, because on my channel, I only cover DC-oriented topics whenever it comes to debates and stuff like that. Debates like these. Oh my god, here we go again. Here we go again. I'm already getting calls again from the crew. lmao.
Maybe when Casual finally starts that YouTube channel he's been meaning to start.
Bro, I'm too busy researching and writing all of Lumos's content.
True, my researchers, all my many researchers, dude.
Like, obviously, like, yo, if you go into Lumos's DC cartography server, I am the only one who posts in there. Trust. Don't actually look in there because I'll be proven wrong, but just trust me, bro.
So wait, Wally, what you're saying is you're Lumos' researcher. I knew it all along.
Yeah. That is what I'm saying.
That's how we knew Lumos doesn't read Justice League Odyssey or the Legion versus Justice League.
Yeah, like whenever Lumos talks about... Yeah?
Matter of fact, you know what the crazy thing is? Y'all have all been under my scheme, bro. I am Lumos Theromax, okay? Lumos Theromax is the persona I created.
No, you have to take it a step further. No, you have to take it a step further. The Lumos you know never existed.
Yeah, he was just a dream.
He's a dream.
He's literally a dream I created. Like, bro, I do all of his writing. I do all of his research. I make everything, and right now I am
the Theromax core
superposition. Bro, I'm literally quantum superpositioning myself right now so that I'm right here, and I'm also Lumos talking at the same time due to my ability to be at two places at once, and I'm using a voice changer to be Lumos, and I'm live streaming a random guy who's secretly just playing League the whole time to pretend that I'm another person, bro.
You guys don't understand. You guys don't understand. The Theromax core, Sons of Novus, the Trinity, all my servers, none of those even existed.
True.
Yeah, they were all little dreams. They were all dreams that Jobber Goda had.
They never existed because Wally using Great Darkness hacks made sure they never existed in the first place.
Bro.
Even though the Theromax score is in the call having a conversation with him and laughing at him for how fucking insane and unhinged that is.
Wait, Lumos. Dude,
What the fuck?
I know you're my alternate self, but like you gotta stop trolling the audience into thinking this call is real, bro. This is all just a dream of Wally. I mean the Great Darkness. Yes. You know, like clearly.
I don't know, man. It's just one of those. It's just one of those things where, like, don't get me wrong, I'm down to sit down and have a chat with somebody, but I like it when people are honest with me, and I like it when people provide evidence and use reasoning, and I didn't get a lot of that in here. We started off pretty strong, I'll admit, but as usual, things just kind of devolved once I said, that doesn't say what you think it does. And if that triggers someone so much they start freaking the fuck out in conversation and just can't have like a normal conversation with anyone, whatever, bro. I ain't got time for this. I spent more time at the end of this debate just saying, like, lmao, like, bro, you're freaking out. I'm just going to start emulating you with how ridiculous you sound. And that's just not a fun conversation with me.
This shit reminded me of Jimmy Carnarian standing on business. Except Curator's Jimmy.
One thing I will say is, like, I will respect him for showing up. I didn't think he'd actually have the balls after the last time I rolled up in one of his servers and he said, I don't want to talk cast with you ever again. Yeah, like, that's... I really thought we'd never hear from them again. He'll sneak diss me like crazy on his channel and said he'd never reference me on his channel ever again. But apparently that was only until I told the man, your take doesn't make sense on Twitter, I guess. And for those wondering, that's how this all started, is some guy who claimed he was autistic on Twitter destroyed Comic Curator in a conversation by laughing at him and posting 2 scans, and he went on like a 4,000 comment like rampage on Twitter, and eventually this kid just added me. He was like, bro, this shit is crazy. Can you believe this guy's insane? By the way, I'm autistic. And I was like, okay, that's cool. Like, I don't care that you're autistic, like, whatever. But, like, you annihilated this guy. So, like, it was just funny that I got tagged on Twitter by a guy who was autistic saying, yo, this guy's crazy. And, like, him destroying Comic Curator saying, oh, yeah, I'll take him on, bro. I can prove all my points. And then walks into a call where he couldn't justify any of his points. It was, like, unhinged, bro. Unhinged.
He's getting his just desserts.
Well, let's be truthful. He could justify his points with a bunch of headcanon.
Yeah, but none of it was, like, logical or reasoning. Or it was, like, shit that was, like, out of context. Like, he'd clip, like, half a second of what an author says. Or he would clip a very specific side of, like, that image. Oh, my God, the one that he said created Perpetua. He clipped 1/3 of the scan, so you couldn't see what he says below it. And what he says below it is legitimately, I'm gonna show, like, this shit's bad, we're all gonna fucking die, we gotta get out of here. So, like, Darkseid created the problem that he was going to run away from.
Mm-hmm.
So he didn't have to conquer the multiverse. Even though in that comic he states, I'm trying to protect all of life, everyone in the multiverse is going to die, these are the only people who will survive afterwards. But that's the fake multiverse inside the other multiverse, not the real multiverse. What the fuck does that mean?
Oh my God.
What the fuck does that mean?
I started dying as soon as separate canon theory came
Yo, that's not even separate canon theory. That's not even separate canon. That is like, this dude's adding entire parts of, like, if you want to say separate canon theory, it's like, okay, each one of these canons are their own individual ones that cannot intersect with one another because they've already occurred and they're over with. He's saying that that's not the case, that the old canon still exists outside of the real canon and has always been there, and in a greater multiverse around ours. So whenever the Monitor, World Forger, and Anti-Monitor looked out past the source wall and saw the Overvoid, they just, I don't know, looked past the other multiverse that existed out there. Or he thinks that there is some sort of Overvoid barrier in between them and the other multiverse that exists out there. Like, what is even happening? Oh, no, because he said we contained theirs. Or, like, the old one contained ours still, because, of course, Final Crisis has to, has to pull a W no matter what, right? So, like, that was the implication there. So, like, are you kidding me? Like, is that really where we're at, where we'll reinforce the fact that we're just gonna completely like headcanon an entire creation out there to justify your beliefs with no evidence other than it's out there, trust. It just is. And I'm saying, bro, I need the evidence that it's out there. And he's like, dude, everything got dreamed up, so it is. Like, what?
Nah, a good one. A good one was, oh yeah, when you mentioned, oh yeah, Mandrak fell, and Cass couldn't see him anymore. He fell to the dark multiverse.
That wasn't the same
it's
one.
a different Mandrak.
All the events of all of history occurred in the exact same way they did in this timeline as the last one, trust. Even though there's no evidence that it's a recreated one.
That dude said, yo, a Mandrak from Unexpected is a different Mandrak, even though he also allegedly read that comic where Mandrak was like, yo, remember when, like, Superman kicked my ass out off the fucking, like, monitor world and into the dark multiverse? You remember when, like, he did that to me? You know,
when Superman cast me into the void, are the exact words he says from that comic. Okay,
yo, dude,
you know, his counter-argument to that was, but that could be another multiverse Superman. Because anytime you pin him on something, but they could have been anybody, bro. You got no evidence. You have a statement.
God, fucking are all like Cosmic Armor Superman, like, are all Final Crisis characters and or fans just all schizophrenic and like have multiple personality disorder?
I don't know, bro.
Do they all just have multiple personality disorder? Like, that was a different. I'm
starting to wonder if the Great Darkness, even while it slumbers, is mind-hacking comic curator, bro. Because this guy is getting wrecked, dude.
I think so.
He's getting wrecked. This man can't even put sentences together. He might be actually that dude,
bro. When the monitors fucking kidnapped Grant Morrison, I thought he was just high as a kite, bro. Low key, he might have been on.
Might have actually been kidnapped. Yo, real quick, I got Man coming in for a sick drop as usual, dude. He says Starfire versus Blaze the Cat. I'm gonna be real with you, man. I haven't seen scaling for Sonic to put them on par with the shit we've seen Starfire do in the modern day. Like, shit, not even in the modern day. In No Justice, she was capable of at least landing a blow on Sinestro that, like, you could interpret as like tying, since both of them were. The Sinestro was kind of like trying to chill out, but even after that, she was like thrashing some pretty fucked up characters, like even in the modern day. So
in Beast World, she was able to defeat
fucking Black Adam.
Like in Rage Beast defied Black Adam. Who, if you want to like disregard his Dark Crisis scaling due to
his movie amp,
that's fine. That same Black Adam was still stated equal to, if not stronger than, Shazam, who merged with the Rock of Eternity in his 2021 solo run. So even then, like, you know, like Outerverse, like really high into like Outerversal, like Starfire is like mogging the shit out of like anyone in Sonic, like respectfully.
I just haven't seen anything. I haven't seen anything from like Sonic that puts them up with like high tiers inside like the characters from Earth. Yeah. I understand there's been some pretty crazy arguments for them recently, and I understand their scaling does get like a little unhinged. I might even be generous to like scaling from Sonic, but even if I'm generous to scaling from Sonic, I don't feel like it gets to the levels of, from what I've seen, of DC or Sonic. And I've got entire channels dedicated to pinging me towards things on Twitter and on YouTube of people saying, "Oh yeah, this completely debunks everything you say," and then I watch it and I'm like, does it? Does it? I feel like it might. A lot of the times it winds up being like this comic curator conversation where it's a lot of evidence that's posted, it's a lot of well thought out like ideas. It's just none of the reasoning as to why any of it scales where it's at. Like I don't make any sense of it. Oh, and Artie Edits is actually in chat. He actually missed it. Artie over here is the guy who actually started this conversation between Comic Curator and I on the old channel. So you guys have him to thank in YouTube chat, so you can feel free to thank that man down low.
Yo, Artie Edits my fucking go, bruh.
Yeah. Thank you, Artie. You made our freaking Saturdays.
Artie single-handedly demolished Comic Curator in a conversation on Twitter. It was the funniest thing, bro. It was the funniest thing. This man was like, yo, none of this makes any sense. It's all cope, bro. And Comic Curator was like, what? Have you not seen? It's funny because, like, you know how he got triggered in this conversation? He does, like, the exact same thing on Twitter. If you read his Twitter whenever you respond to him with something other than what he says, it's so funny.
I mean, look, following up Comic Curator, the bar is in hell, but hey, at least he's above the bar, so I fuck with him.
I don't even call him Comic Curator anymore. He's just Comic Third Grader. Like, that's what I call him at this point.
Bro.
I think you guys are being me. I think we still need to give him some of his name. I just don't like leaving the comic part in. I say we just do Headcanon Curator. Headcanon Curator. Yeah. Because he curates a lot. He doesn't really curate comics well. But he does curate headcanon really well. So Headcanon Curator.
There we go. We got the nickname.
Comic Curator X Jade and Cables crossover. Lumos, what do you think?
Hey, don't do them dirty like that, bro.
Tim, buddy, you did miss out on the chat. It happened earlier today. You can rewind the VOD if you need to. Well, boys, after this wonderful nightmare, I think I'm going to cut off the old stream. We'll just chill and kind of do our thing inside the server. I tell you what, I probably should have posted this shit on my Twitter, in all honesty.
Yo,
I never use
I just want to reply to one thing. I just want to reply to one question in chat. Yo, the Seekers into Mystery stuff is not DC. The whole, God from Seekers into Mystery is its own character, not DC related. That entire story is creator owned. And yeah.
I don't even think I've read that shit yet, so Big W said the world's greatest researcher / video editor / the presenter and script writer. What else can I give you credit for that I'm always everyone believes you are? Director, superhero, best Wally West stand, manager.
I'm also your new manager.
Yeah, true. Replace Tyrock. Yeah, you tell him.
Yeah.
Dude, I think whenever I say shit like that, I think people genuinely take that shit seriously. They really think that I have like that shit. It's like, oh, okay. Dude, I'm fucking trolling.
That whole last thing you should absolutely take as literal.
Yeah, because Tyrock working. Yeah, because Tyrock working 80 hours has enough time to be your manager, bro.
Facts.
Fucking bro, Tyrock's the one who not newspaper, but he's the one who posted my fucking manager proposal to Lumos, dude. You didn't know that?
Yeah, big.
He's the one who snapped that shit.
Yo, man, dropped one more before I cut the old stream arena, boys. He says Mary Marvel versus Invisible Woman. I'm gonna be real with you.
Mary is so dumb right now.
Mary Marvel has some pretty crazy shit. I don't know what Invisible Woman has been doing in the last decade because I stopped reading Marvel seriously in 2015 during Secret Wars. So if Invisible Woman has been doing some unhinged shit, cool for her, Mary's probably swinging.
Fucking Mary Marvel's dumb bitch ass has been on some I scale to Shazam / Wonder Woman shit. I'm like, bro, what the fuck?
Yep.
So
Mary Marvel amped Wonder Woman to be above Hera. Same Quintessence Darkseid soloing Hera, bro. The fuck?
I don't know, man. So take that what you will. And sorry if it wasn't the most in-depth answer, man. I try to stay more DC oriented for the modern day, especially for versus matchups and stuff. Because a lot of the versus matchups with other versus, sometimes my knowledge on them is a little outdated, and I'm totally open to recognizing that idea. I try my best to try and stay somewhat involved with DC so I can always answer shit like that. But yeah, boys, I think we're gonna cut the live stream there. Before I do head out, I tell you what, let me pull this bad boy over, pull this bad boy up. Oh no, it does not change. Okay, I guess we are just gonna do that. Let me send this. I want to post just a link to the old chat for anybody who managed to survive this long in this wonderful nightmare. Keep in mind, anybody who follows up for this, if you... oh, fuck, I can't even do that. Hold up. I gotta do this shit over here. If you guys join the server and you're an idiot, you will immediately get kicked. We decide who is an idiot and who is not based on your actions and statements, so don't do any dumb shit that will get you kicked from the server, etc., etc. We're a pretty enjoyable group of people, despite how this conversation went down. It's just whenever we talk to normal people, we like don't treat them like they're crazy, because most of the time normal people aren't unhinged and stupid.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, let me post this in the tube chat. For all you homies trying to join up.
Yep. We don't like using the band hammer. Forces. We will if you do.
Well, stupid people need to be removed from the server because they endanger the server. So, sucks to suck if you are.
Hold on, Lumos. How sure are you that Discord link hasn't been manifested by Darkseid?
It wasn't manifested by Darkseid. It's manifested by you because you do everything for me, clearly.
Yeah, I am Darkseid.
Whoa, you're not the true Darkseid. You're just an avatar, okay? The real Darkseid is outside of our multiverse and the real multiverse.
Bro, but that's only if you take the pre-retconomicon state where New 52 Superman exploded Hokage Hawk and
chill. That was out of context. Out of context. Hokage Hawk doesn't lose. Okay, that's just how it goes.
Alleged, bro. He did. He's a fraud.
Eli doesn't count. He was holding back. Everyone knows.
Fucking cat.
Lmao. Oh well, boys. As always, if you're still hanging out, boys, it was a blast on this stream. Don't work too hard, and be sure to like and subscribe, guys. I don't do this shit surely just for the fun of it, okay? It's just for y'all, alright? It's mainly to rep you guys, so enjoy, and I hope you guys have a great weekend with this wonderful little surprise I had here. And we'll catch you next time, homies. Later.